Hey,
So it's been a bit of a weird time today, but that's all right. I'm glad to see there are still people in the chat. Thanks for working with this impromptu rescheduling, everybody.
yeah.
Hi.
Yes, no, thank you.
Yeah, let me say hello to some few people. People are like here early. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna like probably have to let's wait for people to come in, but like people were like at 6:59. They're like, come on, let's go. You guys are awesome. Froggy's here. Hey, Froggy. Yay. Froggy's awesome. The master linker. Yvonne is here. Yo. Yvonne said he didn't do shit after lunch today. Oh, I mean, kind of same here. Well, I did, but I had a game review, and then afterwards, I basically just like couldn't focus or get anything done. So yeah. Anyhow, Wednesdays are like really busy for me because I have like a big like midweek review for my day job all the time. So it's like I'm working on getting stuff ready for that all Wednesday, and then I have to stream in the evening. So it's just Wednesdays are crazy for me. But anyhow, we're here, and I'm here with you guys. So that's what's important. That makes my whole day better. Sartikon! Hey! Sartikon, hello!
Wait, Irene, what did you say? Like something about a game review?
Yes, my day job. I make games.
And what games do you make?
I'm not gonna talk about what company or where because that's dangerous information. Well, I like to keep that private. So yeah, I mean some people know, but the internet is a crazy place and there are crazy people. So yeah. So
no, I know. And working in games, you have the craziest of fans. That's for sure.
It's just the internet, like it's just my day job. It has really nothing to do with my comic stuff, so I like to keep it separate. So, oh yes, you're so mature, Chimera. Mm-hmm. Why do I look like a ghost?
That was a good timing for emphasis on Chimera's comment.
Was it? Let's see. John is here. Hello. All right. 24 eyes. Yeah, with his owls. Awesome. Awesome. We might Dunringil. Hello. You will be lurking mysterious in the dark. That's right in the spirit of Halloween. I'm glad to hear. You're welcome to lurk in the dark. So I am here today with Mr. Adam Lawson.
Hello. I mean, this is a new people for me. I think I've been a fan of your work. I backed your book and I've seen you on many streams, and so it's cool to be chatting with you. Also, Nick and AC, a pleasure. And I think we share our love of two things, comics and tabletop role-playing games. And so I think it is a match that should occur, right? We should have the throwdown.
Cool, yeah. So I've been several people have told me. So there's this Adam guy who also does indie comics, and he does tabletop role-playing games, and he made his own TTRPG, and you should talk to him, Irene, because everybody knows that I'm just a giant nut for Pathfinder. And it's just been this thing where, I'll totally talk to him, and I follow you on Twitter, then I never talk to you. Then you hit me up, and it's like, I have a comic project. I'm like, yes, let's go. So I'm very glad that we are finally talking, that you can come on today.
Yeah, yes. Speaking of matches that should happen, you know what? It's the reason why we actually even noticed the comment with Irene on time was because I was actually checking. It's like, okay, what is it that Irene is who is she talking to this time? Or wait, I've heard about this comic project. Where is it from? Right, my friend Alejandro is promoting this somewhere.
Really?
Yes.
What a small world! Everything comes full circle. Yeah,
I think when you get into the indie scene, it always comes back around. Right? When you get this indie, right, and you get this people crafting it with their own bare hands, we all kind of rub each other's shoulders in some ways, and it's pretty cool, right? Because it's the only place where I work in television. I write and direct television for a living, but I can't just email such and such director my thought or an insecurity I've got about a shoot, right? That's not going to work. But this arena you can, right? You can be like, hey, Joe, hey, what are you doing with this thing? Oh, I've thought about that. There is this ability to interact with each other and give each other advice that in regular professional settings you don't get to do.
Yeah. You know what? It's a cool thing because we having gone to college and stuff with comic book people and whatnot, we kind of got used to it. But I had to kind of realize how that is a cool little extra bit that you actually get to reach out to other creators very easily in the comic book world.
Right.
I was actually bringing my sister over to like her first convention because we've been living here in Colombia where we can't contact anybody. Even comics are it's so hard to get them. And they just like, you can just all of these people that you like over the convention, talk to them. You can get in contact with them. You probably can actually even do something with them and stuff. And it drink
with them because that's mostly what conventions are about. Let's be honest.
I guess so. Honestly,
I mean, or is that just me?
I think you have a problem.
Anyways,
I feel like it is like 60% drinking with people.
See, it's true. I was right.
And you said you're in Colombia, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you in Bogota or?
Yep.
There's an artist that did the Ashcan for Kids and Monsters. And who also did a lot of my work for my tabletop game. His name is Magnaz.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
That's Mr. Alejandro.
You guys just call him different names.
Yes.
You guys have like 5 names.
Yeah, Alejandro is what. Yeah, that's he says no one can ever pronounce it. So his screen, his public name is Magnaz, right? Because I know that she'd mentioned it. Okay, so you know him as well. Okay.
People can't pronounce Alejandro.
That's a complicated name to pronounce.
I don't know why that is fine, but Magnaz is what he and I, because he's done work with me since Titan's Grave. Like I've probably hired him for 8 or 9, maybe 10 years.
It's with 2 Z's, by the way.
2 Z's, double Z's, and he is of the best people. I love him so much. And if you look at my tabletop game, Asunder, so much of the great artwork in that, there's 200 plus painted images, so it can't all be him. But he did some of the best pieces, and he did Nail and Goo on this Ashcan for this campaign. And that makes me very happy because see, at first when you said Alejandro, I was thinking about over there at Infinity. I was thinking a different Alejandro, not this one in Bogota, who is my dear, dear friend. So
that is so cool. It's such a coincidence that everybody knows each other. I mean, comics has always been kind of a small community, and it's everybody kind of knows people through like just 1 or 2 degrees. But that's cool.
I always hear people say that.
It's true though.
It's the first time for me that I've actually had that happen. It's like, oh man, like we just bumped heads with somebody that like we actually know. Like I was just gonna say that everybody said that it's really such a small community. Like everybody knows. Like, watch out for who you shit talk and what.
Well, kind of, yeah. Well, but it's even this is cooler because you guys are international. He's all the way in Bogota, so that's like a nice thing that I kind of it came full circle, and I think that's kind of rare. So yeah, Magnaz, that's his name. So everybody in the chat, you can check him out.
With 2 Z's.
2 Z's. With 2 Z's.
You fought. You failed. I'm just kidding. 2 Z's. Magnaz with 2 Z's. Everyone.
More Colombian representation.
Yes, Colombia is represented in this campaign. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, in fact, it's he and I are co-creators on Nail and Goo, and so it's a fun thing. But he was at a convention. He might have shown some of his artwork for Nail and Goo at this convention recently. Did you go to the one in Bogota?
It's like the big convention right now. It's called SOFA, and like that's the only one that we actually like going to. But we still have not been able to get our second shot. And
okay, so you can't get there. Okay,
it being the first time that convention is open here, it was going to be packed. Like even our friend Yvonne was telling us, it was packed from one side to the other. We were not going to risk it.
Yeah, Yvonne went.
Yeah,
but, we didn't want to go.
Wow.
Maybe next year.
Okay. Okay. Well, no worry. Well, yes. Well, he was there at it. I know though he had a medical condition right before. Anyways, he's lovely. So. So anyway,
medical condition? Is he all right?
Yeah, it was fine. He thought it was, something had ruptured and it was worse than it was. He didn't know if it was COVID or whatnot. But it turns out he's okay. And he was sending me pictures from the hospital and anyways, but he's fine now. And
I wish we could have got him on the show. I didn't know that was a mutual connection.
I know.
too, but
Dang
We would have
it!
absolutely brought him.
Dang it!
He gets nervous about his English though. Can get nervous,
Well,
especially.
That's
yeah,
why
but
Nick
I
is here to
think
translate. Also, we
I
don't
think it would
care.
have
I know.
helped that we'd be there to just force him.
Yeah.
But message him
But the-
right, guys. Message him right
I mean,
now.
we've-
I'm
we've-
serious.
yeah,
It's my artist on this book who also is working for Zaid Comics, Phil, who's in the chat here. You know, Maxi Dallo. He's an Argentinian, and he is. I love him, but he's deathly terrified of being on a stream and having to talk live. Same with my artist on the 8th, who did the 8th for me, my first book. He's from the Netherlands, and even though English is, he's super great at it. He just, the idea of being in a place where the public is watching him, it does not work. Yeah,
I know. It's
Yeah.
not. It doesn't come naturally to everybody.
No, it doesn't. And I respect that. You know, if somebody says, "Hey, I am not comfortable in that setting," I don't want to try to push them there because it's not, you know, that's not the right. But
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
Well,
So, anyhow, I have the campaign pulled up. I will not go on about dragging Alejandro on the stream if he doesn't want to, but even though he really is welcome, it would be cool to talk to him. Yeah, you guys should mess him if he's comfortable. And here is your campaign, Kids and Monsters, for which, if I remember correctly, you are the writer, correct?
that's right. So
Writer
I
and
wrote
letterer.
and created. Yeah, that's right. So I wrote it, I created it, and then the fabulous Maxi Dello. There's Steve Dye, the legendary
Steve!
Steve Dye is
Oh,
with
man.
us.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up?
What's going on? What are we
It's a
doing?
rare
And,
occurrence. Steve joins us.
I know he's one of the good ones. Steve is. He is one of the good
You got
ones.
Adam on. I like
Yeah.
Adam's book, man. Yeah. So
Thanks.
come on and talk about kids and monsters.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. So I wrote it and I letter my books, you know, and I think that it's kind of one of the few ways that, you know, I think it's, as a writer, it's almost the, you know, I guess you owe you owe your artist and yourself a couple of things. One is I draw my own layouts, which are bad, and I rework them so that way, by the time I get my script and the layouts to the artist, I think you owe it to them to have thought through the panels, because they're going to commit a lot more hours to those panels than I do as a writer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you owe them the idea that you've thought through those panels 20 times and you've drawn them and ditched them and perfected them so that when they go all in and draw them, you know, with true style and art, that they're the right choices, right? That they're the best storytelling options there are.
I find it very interesting, that you say you do your layouts as well. You hand your artist both a script and layouts, but
that's right.
I'm just right. Okay, so that's a little different because I've been endlessly trying to defend the way I work, which is no script and straight to layouts. But that's fine. It's still really cool that I actually know someone who Nick is laughing because he has to deal with this. So I know someone who did a book for Oni, and I forgot who the writer was, but they also had this really interesting work process where the writer wanted to do the layouts, and I think the artist actually didn't like that, but some artists probably do like that. They have a little more guidance because sometimes they'll do the layouts and the writer doesn't like it. So it's like, okay, if the writer actually knows what they want and like has a clear idea of if the writer themselves has a clear idea of how the layouts will look on a page, and as also the letterer, that's really important because so often people who write for comics, they don't leave any space to put the text, or they write too much text or too much dialogue in the script, and then the artist has to deal with trying to fit all this text, and then the art has to be like squished to the side or something. So I think that what your approach probably makes the comic read so much better.
I think it's fine.
Right.
I think it's a nice approach, and I've heard it being used a few times. I think I remember hearing that Neil Gaiman does that. But I think it's a cool approach so long as the writer's flexible. I think it's helpful. It's just like
My purpose of sending the panels is not because I want him to draw what I drew. That's not the case. The purpose of it is one is it helps speed them up dramatically.
Yeah.
Because then instead of them having to kind of process how the page is laid out, they can see it instantly how I thought of it when I wrote it, which doesn't need to be how they do it. And if you see my screen, there, Rennie or Irene, I'm sharing with you.
Oh, let's
you can see.
that.
So this is what my script
Oh,
looks like.
some of those layouts.
Oh, yeah.
That's what everybody's layouts look like, though. Like, let's just be very clear.
No, I don't
Right,
know. Not Irene's.
Yeah, so that's what the layout looks like. You can see it's all the dialogue around it. And then I do this twice. I refine this twice. Then I take it to an actual proper script where I can evoke more of the emotion into it so that the artist knows the emotion of all the panels. And then I can refine the dialogue more. And then I don't send them the dialogue part around it. But then that page then becomes becomes this page.
Ooh,
we
let
can
me share. Yeah.
And then this page.
Trying to
Yeah.
compare.
You see what I mean?
Right. I was like, let's compare who's more chicken scratchy.
They're like
so good.
That's
Cool.
good. The art is really good, by the way. Your artist knows what they're doing.
No, Maxie, I think he's the next Daniel Warren Johnson, the next James Herron. I think he is. I think he is it right here.
It.
You know, he's a traditional artist. I love his use of speed lines. His all that you see all the emotion in the faces.
Yeah, it's very
really
expressive.
Yeah,
right,
a lot of
see,
motion and everything.
I agree, and I feel like that's like one of the magic that manga really brought into comics is this idea of like over exaggerated emotion and this sense of frenetic movement. You know, when you look back like early Akira, right, and you're just like, oh man, this book just feels like a bullet. I'm just cruising through it. That I think sometimes Western comics can sometimes get a little flat. And Maxie, thinking Daniel Warren Johnson, James Herron, these guys are mashing that up in a really nice way. And so you can see, it's like, and then as I'm, lettering this too, the benefit you have, and I also do my own sound effects, though Maxie sometimes will do an occasional one, but usually I'm doing all my sound effects. And so I'll do also roto my own images, right? Pages out. And then I dip the sound effects behind the pictures, right? So they look like the artist did them.
Seems to me like one of the main advantages to, I don't mean to cut you off, but
please, Steve.
Well, I mean, there's so many ways to create a comic book, and every collaboration, of course, is different. But what I've found on working on a lot of different projects is that sometimes it's a little harder to find that meeting point where, the illustrator's happy and the writer is happy with where the story beats, is what I'm getting to, is where the story beats are. And, I see a lot of very detailed full scripts that don't actually convey that to the artist, and it seems a very expedient way to me. And I like it when the writer does his own thumbnails. I think that really gives the artist a great roadmap and expedites the whole process. It's a great approach.
Not only that, but like aside from the promoting the collaborative process between people, by actually, just like Adam says, like kind of cutting on the work that we have to do it on picturing. Like I think it just one of the main things that I hear from people that haven't had a chance to be on like a good team and actually get kind of disillusioned with the idea of being in comics is that they end up having a relationship with a writer, colorist, artist that is not very open or so highly mediated, like an editor in between, that it just feels like everybody is completely separate on the assembly line.
Oftentimes I am the editor in between, and it can be excruciating if you can't find that like happy ground. Collaboration is what the most rewarding thing about doing these books, and it's also the most difficult thing. So certainly if you find somebody that you can work with and you're getting the results you want, and that's a pretty good too for that's rare, frankly.
Yeah, I remember that it was definitely hard to feel like it was a collaborative art when I was working for a lot of publisher comics, especially because it was sort of like you're on for just a fill-in issue or it's job to job. And instead of like, oh, this is a project I'm really passionate about, I pair with the writer that I really have this shared vision with, you're just assigned to a colorist and a writer. And the editor is like just kind of collecting your work and handing it off to the next part in the pipe, like the next person in the pipeline. So
Frankly, I feel
seeing people like invested in like projects, I don't really see like, you know, I'm happy to see people working together for like comics, and you see it a lot of indie comics. This is the way it should be done.
Frankly, my experience has been the exact opposite. But
yes, you're very lucky.
We've had bad experiences too in the past, so it's like it does create a spectrum. And I think, oh sorry, I'm cutting you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like I won't say what it was, but it was like, you know, I did an indie comic once, but it was like this guy's like, this is my baby, and he wanted to be the editor of it, but he like hired a writer, and then he hired me separately, and he wouldn't let us communicate with each other. We had to go through him. It created some really bad disconnects, but he didn't really know what he was doing.
That's a little weird.
I had a time working on publisher comics because I had a strong team that we all were working together. So I don't think that's a hard and fast rule, but probably more common with like the big two and all that stuff.
I was trying not to say the big two, but it is the big two thing.
I think at the core of it, you know,
like passing little notes in class or something. It's just, it seems friendly with a group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that?
Usually, yes.
Usually.
Well, at the core, at least, I think what makes comics fun and meaningful. I was talking to one of my buddies who writes for Disney Animation, and he says, "You know, Adam, I've come to realize I'm not an artist. That's not what I am. I sell kids' toys. And if I wanted to do something that was from my heart, I'd make a comic book, because then you can make it how you want, right?" Yeah. And I think, you know, when you think about like Berserk, right? You know, 40 volumes done by one person, and you think about there is this special passion in it, right? And that when it gets corporatized, and it gets, you know, taken over by massive conglomerate companies, lots of that leaves. And at least for me, that's what makes it so gripping, is that it is, you know, you're really touching the artists and the players. If you want to show this page I've got here, Irene, I think this kind of sums up. Like,
here's another one. Let me see.
So this
that looks good.
This was a page where Maxie said to me, I said he lands in the obsidian forest, and we talked a little bit about what that should look like. And he's like, "Okay, Adam, don't give me any more ideas. I've got this thing." And then I didn't see this page till he'd gone several pages ahead of this page. And then out of the blue, he just sends me this page in this state, right? It just says, "Aha." And and I loved it. And I loved that he felt like he could do that. And then I could just say, "I love this. I can let my vision of it become this." Right?
That is really cool. A lot of people can't let go of it like that. But this turned out really well.
Yeah.
Right? Because you think that the audience cares about what's in your head, and they actually don't. They don't actually care. They don't care what's in your head. They don't know what's in it. They'll never know what's in it. They'll only know what's on the page.
Mm-hmm.
I often tell that people, to like young directors in TV, they're like, "Oh, I had this vision in my head." It's like, dude, that means you should go back to film school because you think you're still there. What real directing is, and I think what real creation is when you work with what's actually in the real space, not what's in here. It's when you work with a real pencil and a real line, when you direct a real actor, right? That's what your vision is, not what lives in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I couldn't agree more, because some of the more, you know, it's difficult for a lot of writers that I work with to let go of the idea that what they see in their mind's eye, they're not actually translating, you know, and then they're like, the artist just doesn't understand, you know, let me explain it to you. And then I'll look at what the artist did, and I'm like, he did what you wanted, and it tells the story, and the beats are there. Yeah, but, you know, I needed this and I needed that. And I'm like, well, you need to really spell it out in your script, or prior to, you know, you're not going to go back and have that guy redraw that page or even a panel, because of it doesn't matter. Your story is still working. So, but you know, the writer does get, you know, he's got this picture in his mind. And, you know, it's funny that you say that, Adam, because, you know, I tell some of them, well, then you need to get a camera and go make movies, or you need to learn to draw, because you're never going to accurately convey what you're just imagining, you know.
As long as it's about the final product, right? And I get that we all have our own visions, but I think even if you're writing and drawing your own story, sometimes what I've noticed is the reader takes away things that you don't intend, and you have to be okay with that, because
That's right.
It's not even like the reader. It's not. I think people don't normally think of it this way, but the reader is also a participant in the story, and whether you intend it or not, they're part of the experience. And what they take away might not be what you intend. So, and you have to be okay with that, because it's about the story lives outside of yourself. Someone has Zaycom has a question. How many pages is the book?
Chimera said 72.
Okay, I just want to make sure with Adam. Is it 72?
Yeah, no, it's 72 pages. Yeah, it says right at the top of the page. It's just, it's a 72 page hard. It's an oversized hardcover, so it's European style. It's A4 sized, and it's a hardcover. And I love that experience. Magnetic Press is a place I buy books from all the time, and when you get those Euro books and you open it up and you feel like you really fell into the world. And so this is that.
Yeah. So it was my boy Phil Diaz asked that question, or one of them, and I really like Maxie's art, and that was the first time it was brought to my attention was Phil pitched me on the Lost Pages. Oh God, it's 3 years ago now. He had a couple of things that he wanted to show me, and I really like his use of the light and the dark. His use of blacks. It's really dramatic.
Did you put his contact information on your crowdfunding page?
I should have put it on. I should have put him on there. Yeah, I should have put him on there.
Yeah, keeping yourself. You and Phil keeping busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody be your artist.
What's his handle? Does he have a Twitter or something? I'm going to post in the chat.
Yeah, he's on Twitter. Yeah, so he's at Maxie. He's
at Maxie. MAXI.
DALLO.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to post it right now.
I know Phil and I are like fighting for his time. At least
for the next
year.
He should be. He should be busy.
Yeah. I'm aware. I wasn't really. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Now you guys will be fighting with somebody else.
I don't see his Twitter, but I'm gonna just type his name in the chat.
Yeah, Maxi Dallo, really an amazing dude. I just can't describe how cool that guy's doing. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Cool. All right.
There's an apostrophe between the L and the O. And it's but that doesn't show up for his Twitter handle, but that's how you spell it.
I can't find his Twitter, but somebody else find it for me and post in chat, please. I'm incompetent.
Yeah, Phil is he doesn't need any more work. Please. Stop talking about this.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't. Sorry, Phil. I was just trying to give Lost Pages a little shout out. Everybody back Lost Pages. And I do really like Maxie's work, but I wasn't trying to turn it into a bit anymore. Everybody just back off of Phil and Adam's guy.
There we go. Yeah. Now people are going to be fighting.
We've got him locked.
I'm sorry, guys. Please. Best intentions. Sorry, dudes.
It's cool. It's cool. That's what we're here for, starting fights. Just kidding.
Steve, since we were actually just touching on that, relationship between teams, I don't know if you would mind me asking, do you have some tips or advice for people when actually trying to work because I'm assuming that there's been people even on the chat that have had to work as the in-betweener or the editor for certain groups. Do you have suggestions for how people would be able to actually manage a healthy group relationship for a comic or a project?
Well, I'm tempted to just hire me and let me do it because it can be excruciating. No, I just feel like the collaboration. I think the collaboration is really, really important, and I think it's best to feel it out before you even get started. I always encourage the writers that I work with that, some of them I demand it and say that I want to see at least a full page of the character background. That I want to know everything about this character. I want all the stuff that doesn't fit. Way more information than you're ever going to put in this story. But tell me who this person is. And then you pass that off. I mean, the sequence doesn't matter. But once they've really fleshed it out in their mind, then the writer has to find an artist that they can work with. Unless it's, if it's the inverse, everybody invert the funnel if you need to. But doing the early character, do a full a full character profile, and then work with an artist to find out if you can make it happen on the design level. And that'll tell you what you need to know about whether or not it's a collaboration that has a chance for success, or one that's going to want you to put an ice pick right through your eyeball. But yeah, it really just. Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
No, Steve, I think you're right. See, with Maxie and with any artist I work with, I never just work with them cold. Like he did a 6-page story in the Kill Journal for me. So he and I took that journey together, where you have much lower stakes. It's 6 pages. You can get a sense for them. The same colorist, Mike Spicer, and who I think is.
Yeah, you're not going to fall in love with everybody. Somebody could be like extremely talented, and yet the two of you just don't quite mesh. Yeah. And you need, I would say try to get that figured out in the fledgling stages. And if it's not working, it's probably not going to get better. It's probably going to get worse. And you've got a lot of work left to do, So, yeah, I think that's really, I work with, I don't want to name any names, but there's a writer that's doing a couple of different books right now, and he's using like 3 different artists. And I work with 2 of those artists on 2 other books, and a couple of those collaborations are pretty seamless, and a couple of them not so much, So it's like the same artist, and he can mesh really well with this writer, and with another writer, maybe he doesn't, and again, vice versa.
Is there some kind of stuff that you guys have had, like, because again, like we were talking how AC and myself have also had, like, bad working relationships with some projects and whatnot. Is there things that you guys kind of lean onto for trying to ease things, or try and work through what might be a difficult project with certain groups?
Adam, I'll let you take that first.
Yeah, you're saying if I'm understanding your question, is what might be some methods to work through something that's difficult? Is that what you're saying?
Well, like like if you have like like how you guys were talking about, like sorry, Steve was mentioned that some collaborations are just not gonna work. Like when you guys end up actually catching yourselves on, like, oh geez, like this, even if it's a small project, like you were talking about, like little trial runs with like short stories and stuff. If you find yourself with like a collaboration that is just not working out that great, but you're in the middle of a project, or you feel like it's starting on the wrong foot or something, is there things that you guys lean on to kind of like ease things, or just like help work out a project, or I don't know?
I'll tell you this. So on the 8th, my first book, I completed issue 1 with an artist who I loved, and then it didn't continue to work out, and I just started over with a new artist, and just ate the cost. And then on the Kill Journal, it was my 3rd artist who finished it. The first 2, I just ate the costs. You know what I mean? Because it's too long of a journey. It's 1 year of a real grind when you're doing 120 pages. So that was my solution, and it's not that we didn't get along. It's just that, for example, the delivery schedule, just the pages were happening at a rate that we would never be able to fulfill any promise, or creatively they just didn't want to go a certain direction, and that was okay. And so I just said, hey, that's no worries. That's okay. It doesn't have to work for us. So that's what I did. And I'm super grateful I did on both accounts. So grateful I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could take that in 2 directions. One of them is the straight, if you're a writer and you are hiring somebody to do your artwork, you have to assure themselves of their work ethic and the timeliness of their production. And, I love artists, but you guys are all flakes. All of you. You're all flakes. And
I have heard people say that. Listen, some artists are not.
Yeah, you too. I'm just lumping you in there. No, I mean, that's
okay. All right.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe everybody is, but it's. I hate to say it, but yeah.
It's a big problem in indie comics, so.
Well, you can eliminate a lot of problems by paying per page or per batches of 5 pages
I
and
only
so
pay
forth,
per page.
and all that.
Yeah,
but
there's no other way to.
Yeah, there's no other way to do it. That's the nuts and bolts side of it. But again, the other thing is
you got to pay for
figure it out
page
as
for
early
sure.
as you can. And I think it also, something I'm kind of a stickler for personally, but I think it's really, really helpful is that actually have conversations. I don't think you can do this through email and direct messages and stuff like that. I think you have to actually sit down and hash it out and hopefully brainstorm it, pass the
I
baton.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot
interesting?
of getting to know the person you're working with is
Mhm.
important. Yeah.
What's interesting
Sorry,
is Maxie and I have never spoken on the phone.
Oh no!
and Yoren and I did 224 pages and we've never spoken.
Okay, well, yeah, that's swimming upstream with my experience.
Well, never
but good on
mind.
you. Good on you.
We did it all through Telegram, and it worked out. Magnaz, as we talk about Alejandro, he did probably 100 illustrations for me before we had our first Skype. I think it can happen in the written word as well too. I worked with a lot of Chinese artists in my other works, and their English just isn't enough where that conversation can happen.
Yeah, sometimes it's impossible, and I've worked with guys where I haven't really worked with anybody where the language barrier made it impossible, but I've worked with some that have made it difficult, and so those conversations are a little more cut and dried and to the point. Now, if you've had success without doing that, by all means, and I'm sure a lot of people have, but I think there's something about the investment you get from actually doing the little, hey, we're gonna roast marshmallows tonight and talk about this book we're doing, or have beers in my case. Whatever it is. But you do a little conference call, and to me it helps when you're having difficulties. It can help everybody feel a little bit more invested in the project, and back to the. I'm pretty far afield, pretty far in the weeds from my initial point, but still, there's got to be some give and take. Whether the artist hires a writer, the writer hires an artist, you're not going to get everything you want, and sometimes you just got to go. This advances the story, then let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah. The story comes first. Really, that's what everyone should remember. And I know it's hard.
You've been the most eloquent and succinct on this subject. The story should take care of itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Telegram is an app that's just like Twitter. It's not actual telegrams. Everybody,
sorry.
I saw AC took a minute. She's like, telegrams? Like Morse code? No.
I thought that Adam was being a boomer. I thought we were being the boomers.
No, you, the millennial, are the boomer.
It's a messaging. It's a messaging app.
Yes,
it's a messaging app.
Cute or something, but you sounded so serious.
It's like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. It's the same.
Yes, don't you know? People have been doing that. We've been bringing telegrams back. It's really quaint.
No. But I will. Jason Krager, who did Kill Journal, he and I spoke on the phone probably every day. So there is two sides to that. But I think with this here with Kids and Monsters, part of this collaboration we've been talking about that I think birthed really a work that I just love so much, is this tale of teens whose parents are on the verge of divorce, right? And they don't know how to cope with that, as most teens don't, and can't control it. And then they get pulled into this ancient war between monsters and beasts that mirrors this struggle at home, right? So it's a metaphor for kids trying to cope with their potential parents' divorce, and with these beasts and monsters, and particularly these red beasts who want to rip the world in two, right? So this supernatural war is really a metaphor for their personal war at home.
That's really cool. Is there any so you said like the monsters, the tagline is the monsters show up in the kids' backpacks. Like, why are the monsters picking these kids specifically?
So the way it works out is the monsters live in keeps or castles, right? And the outside of those castles look like a backpack, like a genie lives in a lamp. The backpack, the monsters live in backpacks, right?
Okay.
But inside the backpack, it's a full castle.
Interesting. Oh, right. So like a bag of holding, but inside it has that spell cast on it where you get to conjure a whole hotel. Okay. Anyways,
you would understand as a role player. You understand. You get it.
I know how to build this in D&D.
Yes, so you get it.
Adam, so it's like this. So every keep is a backpack. Is every backpack a keep?
No. So the way it works out is Gatsby, and in that first page I showed you, Gatsby, as soon as his parents started fighting, he started to see the cracks in the earth, right? Which is the metaphor for the world is splitting, his family is splitting, right? Mm-hmm. And here he finds his monster Gren, but so he falls into what they call it the world within. Because in this tale, there's two worlds. There's the world you and I know, this one that has streets and boba, and then there's the world within. And the red beasts are trying to rip the two worlds apart so everyone will be miserable. And the monsters have been sworn to protect the two realms and the bond between them. And see these red beasts here, these are the villains who want to make everyone miserable. Right. So the keeps are inside the world within. They're not in the world you and I know. So it's not like they just grab their backpack out of their locker and a monster comes out. Mm-hmm. They get these specific backpacks, but because of that, this is how they bring the monsters back and forth between the realms, and no one knows, right? Because they're hidden in their lamp, if you will, or their backpack.
Right. Yeah, so, I see this page where it seems like this kid finds the backpack, and
bingo.
It's just like summoning. The monster's like, who summons Gren from his sleep? So it's like a magic lantern.
Pokemon.
And so, and each monster and each keep has a unique monster in it. In this case, this one here is Gren, right? And he is like a woodland alchemist, might be the way to say it, right? He brews these potions that he can blow up red beasts. He can cause things to disappear. And his sister, Mally, who's dealing with a lot of anger issues, she pulls out, when she finds her monster, it's this ogre berserker, right? Mm-hmm. It focuses on her rage issues. And then she has a boyfriend named Jinsu. And his monster is this Hapkido Panther machine that he controls via a remote control. Now, they're their allies, but his is unique that he interfaces with his monster via an Xbox controller.
That makes me think about all of these Japanese shows that are always trying to integrate a phone as like the main mechanism through which add the supernatural mechanic to it.
But it's more fun.
Just because.
And so there's, you can see here there's two versions of the book, right? There's a color version with Mike Spicer's amazing colors, but I also I'm doing a line art version as well.
Oh,
not an
cool.
artist edition. It's with all the lettering in, which means you have to redo some of your lettering and redo your rotering twice, but all worth it. Because at least for me, I love having a line art version available where you can see all the lines. So you can get both in color or in black and white. And the black and white will just be a campaign exclusive item. And then this year,
you're going a bit fast on there, and I didn't catch. I only caught like the end part of that. So, what did you say that you had to actually redo some of the lettering from the colored and the version?
Yes, because what happens is when if you scroll down a little bit here, Irene, you can see like if you see that POW, see how it's baked.
Your SFX are definitely going to change, and
see how it's put behind the characters. It wasn't drawn, Maxie didn't draw that. I put that in. Mm-hmm. So now he drew and so I have to then roto out the art and slip it behind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, but now you've got to do it on 2 layers, right? The color and black and white layers. And then you have to build your SFX in both black and white and color, right? Mm-hmm. So that way you have two versions of it, right? Because the smash in the color version is not black, right? It's blue.
Oh, okay.
And
so you're just you're just reworking it.
You're not having to actually redo it. You're just gonna have to go inside, just like edit it so that it can have the color fills and whatnot.
Yeah. Right. But when you build a mask, you have to do the mask on multiple layers, right? Like so you mask a layer, and then you on your color layer, and then you go to your black and white layer and you mask it as well, right? So that when
the use of layers certainly facilitates doing it a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, certainly your SFX generally are colored, and of course they wouldn't be. Some people, you might have color keyed narration boxes or something like that you got to drop the color out of. And yeah,
Frankly,
I think it's a really cool conceit, man. I really like the premise. The monsters in the bags. If does the child who receives the bag, have some influence over it? Or is it more just like you unzip that thing and you don't know what you're going to get?
So the way it works out is there's two fronts to it. So one is the monsters are their allies, right? Because the monsters want the same thing as them. They are the good guys. They want to keep the two worlds together, right? That's they've sworn an oath. So they're good in that sense, and so they're the kids' allies. But the ally, they don't control them like a robot in any ways. They're their ally.
Okay, but they're all on the same side intrinsically. It's not like you might get a monster that's going to help you out, and you might get the genie that comes out and zaps you. You're saying there's not bad genies?
Not so far. Not so far without any spoilers here.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
I think what I would wonder is if the monsters, what if the monster is a bad fit for that kid? Because it seemed like I don't know.
Really would be have potential. The girl has the anger ogre. So.
Yeah. It feels like, especially with the one I saw that the skateboarding girl got, is that's a really good fit. But is it sort of there's a reason for that, or is it totally by chance?
Sure. So the way it works out is, so for example, Gren is an alchemist and potions, and Gatsby is the boy who finds him, and he's a math head and a Rubik's Cube's master. Mm-hmm. And the way it works out is you can't see the keeps just of your own, right? You have to overcome some aspect of yourself, some weakness inside yourself that helps you be able to see a keep that's meant for you. So the kids to get to so instead of just they run into the world within and there's a bunch of backpacks, I grabbed this one. There's actually a bit of a character struggle to find your backpack, the one that I guess is best suited for you. And you won't be able to see one that isn't suited for you.
Oh,
right?
Okay. Yeah.
And the way you can see it is by overcoming usually some sort of weakness in character or some sort of struggle that you've got with Mally, right? She has this moment where she's trying to figure out how to use her anger to accomplish things, right? Whereas lots of times she lets it defeat herself, right? Whereas it's if she can channel that frustration, she can use it to get herself to do things or to push through obstacles. And it's after she makes this change that she sees her backpack, right?
Cool. I really like that. You tie in the character development into the concept too.
Yeah, it makes me think back about when we were in college and I was reading the I Kill Giants. It seems like kind of getting this kind of cool little introspective story for kids to latch on to things that they might have, but actually with more action in there, which I think was a big draw for I Kill Giants. They catch you with the cool visuals, the fact that there's action going on. Whoever likes D&D, oh gosh, that's something else to go on to. And then it actually leads you to actually read the whole divorce stuff that is happening underneath that.
Right. And see with Matt, and to go along with that, Nick, see, this is Mally and Jin Soo in this, right? Mm-hmm. And he becomes her boyfriend right at the beginning. And I didn't want this story to be a traditional teen romance where it's boy likes girl, do they get together? Because I don't know that has much depth, as much as they get together right away. She's getting beat up and he saves her and she says, "What, are you trying to be my boyfriend?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll be your boyfriend." And then they just kind of become boyfriend and girlfriend, right? No. And he shares his red vines with her, and that means he's accepted her. And he's like the mysterious kid at school, right? And so it's really about their story of them figuring out how to make a relationship work, because as they go on this journey together, they have struggles and things they have to reveal about each other, and the struggle of how do you make a relationship work, right? Which is kind of a reflection of their parents whose relationship is failing, right? And can they learn how to do it right? I wanted there to be a layer within that, instead of just hey, she's cute, I'm cute, do we get together? It's can we make the choices that allow us to be happy together?
Yeah, there you go. Because That's I have some friends that always start talking about like romance stories, specifically like in manga and stuff, because that's like like a big genre that just like leans in on that. And I think that one of the big criticisms that I hear about that is on it being these series that, since the whole premise of these things is like it's gonna be romance, they always kind of hold this carrot on a stick of like their relationship, like will it happen? And so it becomes kind of like those two kinds of books. The ones like are gonna completely just like hold it over your head and just like you gotta just trudge through all of the bullshit of them, like, oh, misunderstanding. Oh, I said I love you, but actually a firework was going off, so I never heard it. Oh darn.
That's real. It's such an overplayed trope.
I mean, it is, but it's like it's those two sides. It's those ones that like hold it over your head, like promise you that they're gonna deliver, and they like better fucking deliver because I'm actually trudging through some boring shit. Or the other ones that like really want to like kind of like what is that when it's kind of like the equivalent of going like in medias res, where they actually just try and deliver on something like what you were just talking about, Adam, where like the kids actually like solidify a relationship right off the bat, but then the audience is like, okay, well, this house already started. What will be the payoff for later? And that's always seems to be like the two things that I see being juggled on like young adult romance and manga.
Right.
So yeah, that's certainly something to like entice you. It's like, okay, we're not being baited along on the way for waiting onto something.
Right, because I always feel like in some ways it was always just so.
Just backed, by the way. Just wanted to say that. Thank you. And back this book.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Link right there.
And yes, Irene told me before that she likes red vines. So
what? I actually don't even know what that is. So
it's like Twizzlers.
So red vines are licorice, right? And that's like
those are like
it's his.
It's like Twizzlers.
Oh, is it a candy?
Yeah,
it's a candy. It's a licorice.
Oh.
Red vine. It's you get in a little box.
Finally, Camaro weighs in.
I don't know if I like licorice, but okay,
I
sure.
thought it was just like, oh, that's how the kids are calling the headsets now, right? I don't know.
I have no idea what that is.
Just like nodding and smiling.
It's like, I don't know that I like this.
But I don't know what it is. Anyways.
Well, I think that there was this feeling, when you watch E.T., right, then with the Reese's Pieces, right, that there's something nice about a tale that ties like a piece of candy into a relationship, right, that gives it like a youthful energy, right, and the idea that like his sign is like, okay, we're together, you want a red vine, right, and it's like Gatsby, the younger brother, never gets given one, right, until he does something really cool, and then he's like, yo, you can have one, right, and it becomes his thing that becomes his way to like authorize you as cool or not. Is he giving you from the candy pool?
That's kind of cool.
Sorry to interrupt, but what did Alex BRB say? I read that and I didn't understand anything.
Oh, he was saying something about his Pathfinder campaign. I wanted to show it because that's really cool. He said he had a max level Pathfinder 2e. I haven't played 2e yet, but the DM didn't want. You had followers? Was it like you had a leadership fee? So you had followers in a castle. So your DM put them in a pocket dimension castle, Clockwork Soldiers. I was like, nobody in the chat's going to understand this, but that's amusing to me. So I put it on the screen.
Yeah, I'm sorry I asked. Just never mind.
We've been playing 1E for like, how many years has it been? Like 3
It's been like 4 years. It's been going almost 4 years now. Yeah, we haven't touched 2E. I heard it has like a weird resonance system or something.
Okay, but I'm sorry I asked. Let's just get back to the comic.
Yeah, why did you ask? I didn't read it out for a reason.
Yeah,
Thank you, but that is really cool, Alex.
I'll be back momentarily, and maybe we'll be talking about something that I understand.
No, okay, well, let's go back to comics. We do love Pathfinder here.
Yeah, no, there's some love of Pathfinder. I certainly know it well, and I think. This is the moment when she like sneaks into his bedroom in the evening and he's playing video games, and it's kind of where he says he likes video games instead of people because video games are reliable, right? Because Jinsu's parents split and he moved from South Korea here to the States. And she's like, well, why don't you stop playing video games and kiss me instead, right? And this is this moment, and then of course,
If only all
this is when the
relationships
B
were
show.
that easy.
I feel like this
Yeah.
kid has not been playing a lot of video games in the modern era when he keeps saying that they're reliable.
Yeah,
How old are these kids, you say?
So the kids in this, like Gatsby is like 13, and these kids are like around 15 and 16.
Hi, Brian. Brian Prescott's here. 15 to 16.
Yeah.
Cool.
Alright.
Yeah, I've mostly just been oogling over this art. I really do like the art and the
Yeah.
monsters. Look at those
I'm-
cute big red monsters. So cute.
I'm glad you actually
What?
touched on the romance part of the book, Adam. When I was Irene put up the fact that you were the one that was going to join, and I was looking through the campaign. I think that's actually the thing that most caught my attention while looking at the pages, scrolling down, because most of the comics that we kind of go through, or at least that we've seen from other creators, is very action heavy. And I think one of the campaigns that we passed by, I forget their name, but it was like the mech one.
Yep, Mavericks.
I think we
Mavericks?
Mavericks. Yeah, Mavericks. That was the campaign.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we touched on, because we tried to really talk about like the mech genre and all this during that conversation, was that, like, for example, like one of the main reasons why I had been driven away from checking out a lot of mech series, especially from comics, not just shows, was the aversion to actually more in-depth character
Like
stories.
intimacy and
Yeah,
your
like-
characters.
Yeah, because like a lot of these shows, like again, like mechs or like very military driven, like I don't know, like the Godzilla movie or something. Like there's a bunch of characters. They all claim to be very different, but they all just like different shades of gray of doing the predictable thing that they will always do, and never really interconnecting in any way. Almost just like, again, like the Godzilla movie, almost like an obligation of having a human being there just because the usual script says that we have to have a human, despite nobody wanting to see these boring military people. Everybody just
Right
wants
on. I came back to Godzilla movies. That totally worked.
Yes, it worked. It came back as something you
Let me
understand.
go away and come back, and yeah, Godzilla movie. I came right in on it.
Perfect.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but yeah. Now I'm back on the right page. Cool.
Well, I think, Nick, what you're talking about is when people let the genre, they think, well, they let the genre and like, oh, the cool monsters or the cool mecha or all this stuff define the story, instead of remembering that the story is about the characters.
Well, kind of like, because like I always say, like, we go onto like talking about a bunch of these projects and how because an argument or line that comes very often is just like, we're really about stories or something. It's like, I don't know, like there's comics that are really just a dude that punches good and punches good on a cool looking monster. Like, I'm engaged. This is cool. I don't care about the story. If this was just dumb fun, I'm into it. So it's not about necessarily being led by the tropes, but allowing or forcing like the guise of a more in-depth story coming into something that is not, when you're not enjoying it. And I kind of felt that because I had to write up I forget what the project was. We were like in college. We had to do something like propose it and think of it like it has to be a comic that somehow we're proposing into like as a tie into like a video game thing or something. And my thought was like,
okay, that's weird.
Games. Like, what is everybody likes shooters and like military people.
Brian.
And so like I did that, and like I just I could not latch onto it, and everybody was just like, I know that military people are like, okay, like like the story is being tough, no emotions, guns good. I have a wife, so that I can show that I'm heterosexual or something for the story.
That's the only
sometimes-
reason. Yes.
Sometimes you
It's
can get
a
a really
voice,
successful
like, I feel
mashup. You know.
What's up?
Well, sometimes you can get a really successful sort of mashup between the trope itself and the genre that you place it in. You know?
No, yeah. Like, I'm not trying to say that it can't work. It's just that it's when we talked about that back then, and I feel like I'm a bit of a mess just rambling. Is that it's just that it was a reason why I had like been hesitant and had been driven away from like mechs and stuff. But then I found others that actually allowed themselves to have stories and they were not disingenuous about.
Well, to me, the best movie, not disingenuous. To me, the best movies a lot of times and the best comics most of the time are when you've got spectacle, but certainly you also have characterization. You know, I saw Chris Gow's in here, and you know, it's like Six Gun Gorilla. You got a Six Gun Gorilla. You know, what else do you need? But there's still a lot of nuance to the story, and you know how the little baby got extricated from his native land and brought over. You know, and you know it's you know some certain King Kong elements and all that, where he's you know being shown in carnivals and you know changes hands over a card game. You know, so there's a lot of characterization and you know. Development and plot development.
Someone like
at the end of the day, you got a big ass gorilla with big ass guns, and you know to a certain extent, if you got that, the rest of the stuff.
But like you know, I feel like that's I want to latch onto that. So it's like it's because there's storytelling that you can put in there, but like oftentimes I feel like the audience can tell when it's disingenuous when you're like just putting it in there to like I feel like there's
I see what you mean.
Want it.
Sure,
right.
Nick, yeah.
You know what? Like since I keep talking about like that balance between spectacle and like actual narrative weight to it. Like one of my favorite movies is actually Pacific Rim. I love that movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's dumb fun and like even when the interactions seem very tropey and like I know where this is going, it feels like they're actually trying. And I feel like you can see the difference between like the first movie and the second one, where like it all seems like
there was a second one.
Assembly line.
The second one was
well, I think Nick, what you say though, I think Nick, I think what's special, what we're talking about with Six Gun Gorilla is why people are still talking about that book is because of the nuance. If it was just a gorilla with guns, nobody would still be talking about.
That's a great gimmick. It's a great gimmick.
It's a good gimmick. And that's why you watch into a comic because you can pull a monster out of a backpack because you got a gorilla with guns.
Yeah.
And that gets you maybe in the door. And you know, there's a cool mech, but there needs to be a few other things.
That's a cool cover.
But it can't be the whole thing. Like you can't just rely on the gimmick.
Yeah,
it has to be sincere.
Yeah, I want to quickly offer a disclaimer that I'm not saying it's just a gimmick, you know, but yeah, you got a great visual there in the first place. But yeah, Brian totally doesn't coast on that. You know, and I think that is. You know, I think that's what Adam's doing here too. You know?
But I think with this book, I also wanted to create, you know, an ash can, right? A campaign exclusive ash can. Speaking of Alejandro, as we talked about him earlier, that was campaign exclusive, and it would lead into a new story that's in the universe of Kids and Monsters. But
that's the Nails and Goo. This one right here,
Nail and Goo, right?
Yeah.
So Nail is the name of the monster, and Goo is the name of his friend, and Goo is a Korean female name. And that's
cute.
Isn't that cool, right? So it's Nail and Goo, and he crash lands outside of Lovelock, which is where Kids and Monsters is set. And he befriends when he's a child monster, he befriends this child named Goo, and they grow up together. And you know, she's going off to college. She's this tech head. He's this awesome, huge, hulking monster who has this living organism on his back that he can spin these vines out like tentacles. And he's trying to find his place in the world.
Bit so that we can see the picture of Nail.
Yeah, you can see Nail.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. I was waiting for the but yeah, there you go.
And Nail gets his name because when they were young, he could eat nails, and one of his powers, he can consume metal and anything, right? So that became his nickname, right? Because he could just eat things. And as a little kid, of course, we'll try this. And so, but now he's trying to find his place in the world. He's grown up. Goo has grown up, and some of these things from his past come to haunt him. The reason he crash landed, and he's got to fight tooth and nail, no pun intended, you know, to hang on to what he's got.
Or the complete opposite of what you just said.
Yeah, it is. Yes. And so, so this is you know a nice way to segue people to a story that will occur later on. It'll be my next work, and I know that I always love that to get the ash can for like what could be another tale. When I in indie comic, that's part of the at least for me, is part of the fun to get that ash can for that story. And so this is Nail and Goo, and Alejandro Magnaz, to Americans, is the artist on that. He's doing lines and colors, so he does the whole package.
Fantastic character design.
Yeah, that looks really
incredible.
Yeah, and he's like, even though he's not here, because he had been talking to me about this for a while.
Okay. So he's okay.
He has been super excited about this, by the way.
That's cool. I really wish I knew there was this connection so I could have brought him on.
Yes, I would tell you now that it's an amazing connection because you don't think you're going to connect through Bogota, but sometimes you do.
There you go. Yeah, this design is really. I was going to ask if it's the same artist. I feel like the style is slightly different than the pages before. But,
I
can still see it.
From that.
And Magnaz works digitally, and Maxi works traditionally. And Magnaz is a painter in a real sense. Like most of his stuff is big, high, epic fantasy cover of Pathfinder, right?
I can see that
kind of work. And so like when his lines are much simpler because he's also his own painter, so he knows his lines are almost his skeleton for what his painting will become. So it's a very different process.
So this guy's a one-stop shop, Adam?
He's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, we'll discuss his contact information on here.
I can't give that out. Can't give that out.
We'll discuss that off the air.
No!
He's too busy.
This is cool too.
Yeah, I think we put his handle on the chat earlier, Steve.
Yeah, Tuesdays, Magnaz, Tuesdays.
It's great work.
He actually went through just as Adam was saying, like he actually went through the same thing as me when we were talking about before with art. That here we don't have degrees or really places to really learn comic book art. There's just sealed packages that are like 3 times the price, and so like he also started as an illustrator and just like moving from one side to the other with a bunch of books and illustrations to doing commissions and handling multiple jobs at the same time because it's the only way to survive as an artist around here.
Man,
no, totally right.
Save Colombian artists, everyone. Give them one.
I've been hiring him a ton. I did a board game called Escape the Night. He did 150 cards. He did all this stuff. Or not 100, he did 50, he did 70 cards for that game. I've been hiring him on every game, television show I can hire him so he stays because I know it's tough in Bogota.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. I think he's always looking for work, and he's just so good.
I wouldn't mind him having a little bit less work, so he would be a little bit easier to get a hold of. He's always too busy.
Oh yeah.
No, more work.
He's always.
I know it's when you find the great artists, you want to lock them down because you're so worried somebody else is going to hire them, and then you can never get your thing done. This is a figurine. This is a figurine. It's a custom, one of a kind. It's a.
I was eyeing this. I was like, "This is a cool idea." Who made this?
It's a custom digital sculpt that was printed and assembled and hand painted. It's a one of a kind. It's 6.5 inches, and I have it, but I'm at my in-laws right now, so I don't have it to show you.
Right. Okay.
But I took that picture in my living room on a small white swoop. That's the real thing.
Well, it looks great. Oh yeah, it is. I've seen like other angles of it, and you can buy it for this tier right at the bottom. Why is it one of a kind? Because if it's sculpted digitally, you can do.
Well, because it's painted by hand.
Oh yeah,
it's hand painted.
You can get you can print it and get like unpainted versions.
It's a massive printing operation and massive.
What I'm saying is, I want one.
Well, Irene, you and I should talk. We should talk. I think, but it's a one of a kind. There's only one that's been made, and the other person who's got it here. And so I did this on my first campaign for the 8th, and I thought it was special to have something that's a true collectible that walked away that only existed for the campaign.
Yeah, completely cool. I mean, I've seen this. Printing out digital files of main characters for different campaigns. And I've seen people show these like that, and I keep assuming that they actually have a colored version. It's like, oh no, example done by a professional, blah blah blah. It's like, oh okay, we can only get the digital file. this is really cool. And I'm sure that whoever gets that colored one is gonna be super happy. I scrolled down and I assumed it was the same case. It's like you get the digital file, it's probably like this size or something.
This looks like
big. Cool.
this doesn't look like just a ZBrush model or something. This looks like it's actually paint. I mean, you could get close to this if with like a digital rendering, but it's very hard.
No, Irene, I said what I mean to say is just that I thought that this was somebody like when they shoot on campaigns, it's not that they painted digitally. It's just like they have one and they have someone professionally color it, make it look nice, but they don't give that to anybody. It's just to showcase how good it can get if you could pay as much as the person that made the campaign.
That's a little weird. Yeah.
No, it's to put. You're trying to put it on the best light, and I get that.
Yeah.
But this is really cool that you can actually get the one really nice painted one.
The one.
That's cool. I really like that.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, she's imagining getting a rag now. Bust now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're imagining that, but maybe I will consider it. I have been sculpting a Casimir. It's just like been sitting there not done for like a year. I should probably finish that.
No, that was, even on the in-between process, you should actually post some pictures of that for the campaign just to show people you've been just doing that one and like maybe tease for like the next one.
I should really freaking finish that. I'm gonna make that available for chapter 2. You've inspired me, Adam.
So
I hope so.
Let's go.
I love Fiendish, and I love your art style. It was one of the things that really, because I back a lot of campaigns. I backed over 170 of them.
Oh wow!
And I read all the ones that get delivered. And so I try to keep on the pulse of this because I'm having a great time doing it. But yours really stood out early on. And like we said, it had so many earmarks of somebody who plays role-playing games. And so I was like, I've got to figure out what the scroll is up to here. This says, I play D&D. I play role-playing games. Here's my book.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what I'm doing, but
for everybody in this chat.
Yeah. Hey, I play D&D and I draw manga-ish stuff back my butt.
Yeah, that's right. And it was this nice manga mashup to it too, like really fresh. And that's once again what I'm loving about the indie comic scene, right? Is you get that book that doesn't look like any other book.
There's so many of those in indie comics. Oh, hey, speaking of sculpture, Krager. He's also a sculpture guy, and he was on the show with his comic Hammer weeks ago, like a month or two ago. But that was also a really good looking book.
Yeah,
Jason did this book.
Oh, hold on, let me full screen you.
So this is the Kill Journal. You can see it here. So this is it's a let me kind of pull a little bit of the light down so it isn't so crazy, but it's a leather bound edition.
That's so good.
This is all Jason Krager. This is Maxie. That's the story. This is all Jason. You can see, but it's this beautiful book, and they're arriving on the boat here from China this week. I hope. Because with shipping problems, you never know.
Oh yeah, shipping.
Jason Krager, it's like the worst part of your life. I know, but yeah, Jason Krager is the real deal. This is 120 pages or 112 pages of just him on that.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't have that book. I wish I need to find a way to get that book.
GiftedRebels.com, and you can get it.
Oh shit! There you go. All right,
I have a Shopify store, so I can keep selling them after it all ends,
Woo!
And since you did say that you're having to leave soon, in case so that we don't end up having to like cut it out and not touch it, maybe we should play the trailer from your campaign so people can actually get a good
watch it afterwards. So.
Yeah, we can do that. You said you've got 10 minutes, so that's not a problem. We tend to go long, but we'll just continue oogling over this after you're gone, if you don't mind. Yeah, let me reshare and play the trailer for this. Hold on, real quick. Let me take a look. And is there anything else you want to tell people about this campaign? Any special tiers or something?
If you want to go down to the bottom, real quick, you can see there is a couple things. One is there's a red T-shirt, and we do high quality ones. We do high quality ones. We do. They're a super tri-blend, extra high premium quality T-shirt.
So
they're super.
They won't like
print and screen printed.
Fall apart in the wash or something.
No, this is not a fall apart in the wash. No, it's the opposite of that. It's a screen printed, so it'll last.
Cool.
It's a high quality
Yeah.
Bella canvas, etc. But so
Woo.
there's that available. There's original art that's available.
Awesome.
And if anybody wants to get in on a deep dive of the process of me making this book with Maxie and Mike, my Substack is in here in the middle of this campaign.
Nice.
But there's the full reveal of this from volume 1 of the kids and their monsters and the main villain.
Is this a cover? Is this like a cover for a stretch goal?
This is the back. This is the back of the This is the back.
Oh, okay.
So the front cover is the boy with the backpack with the monster in it. That's Gatsby.
Yeah.
And then this is the back. Yeah. This is the back of volume 1 that you'll be getting.
Oh, okay.
Nice. I approve of that. Yeah. Looks good.
Yeah. That looks so nice. Cool. Well, let's get to the trailer. That's it. Oh, yeah. Is there anything else? Go ahead. Sorry.
Here's, you get the hardcover book. You can get it, the hardcover in color and the black and white version. You can get the book with the ash can. You can get it digitally as well, and the digital version gets you the book and the ash can tail. You can get it with the T-shirt, or you can get some original art. Or if you're a crazy collector, you can get the statue.
Yeah.
Ash can.
Yeah, get that statue. That is so cool. Sweet. I like your options too. It's very simple, easy to understand. Like you've got the book, the black and white version, ash can, and a couple of items. Nice and simple. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate a straightforward tier list.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Cool. Let's do where's the trailer? Is it
the first one?
Me. Okay. My computer's lagging. I have to reshare because I never have audio on. So give me a second.
And so, Irene, how close are you to? Are you done with Fiendish? Are all pages done?
Oh, we're chapter 1. Yeah, it's colored. We're coloring it now.
Yeah, it's just me lining up the colors. Everything.
Yeah.
I see.
I was done with the shading and inks before I launched, but I'm working on chapter 2 now. I'm still staying busy. I'm doing chapter 2 and a bunch of other stuff, but we'll update everybody a bit on that towards the end of the show as well. But the colors are coming along.
Yes, but it's just Nick is the problem. I see.
Collaborations are hard,
That's right.
Nick is not the problem. It's I don't know how to estimate times for colors, but it's especially with I have this weird. I don't do inks like most comic artists. I have a lot of grays and it's really hard to flat. So that landline is tripping me out. I can't remember the last time I heard an actual landline.
I know. See, I'm at my in-laws and they have a landline and I can't. I'm stuck. So I'm just here
that's crazy.
You can't even red button it because your mom and pop in law probably wouldn't appreciate that.
Yes, I'm stuck there. I got limitations here.
It's fine. I'm just oh my gosh, am I back in my grandma's house? Okay. Let me share this trailer. Let's go. Can you guys tell me if you guys can hear or not?
I started seeing the cracks just after Mom and Dad began fighting. They were thin as pencils at first. Then they got bigger. And things started to disappear. Beasts are pouring out of them. Beasts trying to rip the world in two. Just like my family is being ripped in half by my parents. But we're not alone. There are keeps shaped like backpacks hidden in the world within. They hold monsters for those willing to fight. Here, monsters are not the things to be afraid of, but embrace. Monsters are the ones who are going to save us.
Sweet!
That's awesome. Oh, I love that kid's design.
Which one?
Thank you.
The geeky one with glasses. Looks great.
Oh yeah, right. the Rubik's Cube guy. Yeah, that was I want to point out something about the trailer. I noticed the sound design was really good. You had the background monster.
The whole thing was really good. I was going to ask Adam if he just peeled that off himself or if he's got friends in the business. You got connections. Is that how that happened?
Yeah, no. My editor, who edits one of my TV editors, I had him. He did that for me.
That's...
But I, what it turns out to be was I, take the pages and draw them and show what to do with it.
Yeah.
But then I've just, but as far as I pick the music and we add the sound effects in and etc. But it's good. Yeah, I get that like a
very polished.
Simple.
That's where, yeah. I know about some of the shenanigans you get up to, and I'm like, how come I don't have it? Like I can get my dirt bike really tuned up. Not that I really need that, I got a great suspension guy, but I don't. Yeah.
I need to know the guy that for trailers. That was really nice.
Yeah. You can tell the guy's connected with some guys that have skills. That's really good, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Well, Irene, thank you for having me on, and I feel like this was an awesome time. Obviously, great to always hang with Steve, but Nick, AC, Chimera, I got to meet a whole new pack here, like officially meet versus just watch you on stream.
I've seen you on Twitter and stuff, but I'm like, I'm finally talking to this guy everyone's been telling me I have to talk to. I hope we get to talk more, especially about like Pathfinder and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I know
it's gotta happen. It's gonna happen.
Well, I know. I feel like maybe that's another tale, right? Like that's the next stream is let's figure out RPGs together. And when are we doing the Fiendish RPG? When are we going to pull that in?
That would be great, but we're not there yet.
But maybe for my game Asunder, maybe there's an expansion, the Fiendish expansion. You know what I mean? Could
yes. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk. But thank you so much for coming on. I know your schedule is tight, but best of luck. Your camera looks freaking awesome. Say hi to Alejandro.
Thank you.
For us.
I will.
Tell him to come on my show.
All of you. I will tell him. Be great, guys. Everybody take care. Have a great night.
Bro.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night. Thank you. Bye.
Later.
Yeah, that was really cool. So luckily we have multiple books to promote today. Steve,
let's just slow down. I really do. I like Adam's book, man. That's a cool.
Let's go back and keep looking at it.
Yeah. Just one more.
Let's go.
All right, we can turn the corner, but I ain't trying to steal his thunder. Nobody wants to steal.
I mean, to be fair, I think Adam did sell a tabletop game on Kickstarter for some. I think he did really well on Kickstarter with that.
Let me refresh this.
Yeah, he was just talking about that, wasn't he? I didn't want to.
He said he made like 6 figures on that.
Oh yeah,
it was really successful.
Yeah, so do Fiendish tabletop and forget comic books.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool. But...
maybe do that.
I don't. That would be cool. No, but like.
No, let's back up the bus, Chimera. She killed it on Fiendish. I wish she were doing those kind of numbers. She killed it.
Comics are my true love. So, I mean, a tabletop would be cool, but that has to be secondary. It has to be secondary. Yeah. Every project suits a medium better.
Adam's had some success. He knows what's up. He knows what he's doing.
Dude, yeah. I think sometimes it's not just like the art is good, because I keep on gushing about the art, but I really liked his pitch on it. He really knew what he was doing, because it's the story. It seems like he didn't just have the elevator pitch, but he knew the layers of the story. You know what I mean? And,
I hate the elevator pitch.
Why? I mean, I get why, because it's like watering things down too much, but like why exactly?
No, not his elevator pitch. The elevator pitch in general.
Right, I know you, but
because
most people are like, you have to water you have to be able to like boil your story down to like one line, and I get that, but also
you're right, but I don't want it. Yeah.
I've noticed that some people, they can boil their story down to one line, and it sounds really catchy, and then it's like most of the time though, it putting the elevator pitch first, it centers the story. It like helps people gather their thoughts and like understand the core of your story, but also it opens the door for people to just focus on gimmicks. And a lot of people, if you ask them to expand on the elevator pitch or talk for an hour about their story, they actually can't do that. And I've noticed that's kind of weird.
Yes.
Is that what?
It's.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I like the elaboration on the concept. As long as it's not too rambling, which is what I tend to be. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you can't really contain something in 90 seconds.
I guess so. It kind of reminds me of what Adam was actually talking about earlier in this same stream. He was saying that, it's what's in your head is only just in your head, and there's no real value to it to the actual consumers if you can't actually put it out there. So
yeah,
I think there is, like, even though it's very frustrating to boil things down to an elevator pitch, and I don't like doing it either, I see the importance of it because I'm not going to listen to somebody talk about their book for an hour without just like, okay, but what is it really about? Like, give me that pitch so I know what I'm getting into at first, and then I'll take an interest in it, maybe.
Yeah, you're totally right. Everybody's right. I'm just conflicted about it. I think you absolutely have to have a hook. You got to have a hook, but yeah.
Yeah, you have to be able to expand on it as well, or just basically know what the hell you're writing.
Yeah.
It's hard, but.
Yeah,
talking over each other.
Trying to collect my thoughts to not go over what has already been said, because I was trying to do it for like a while.
It's easier to write an elevator pitch if you have a high concept, like I guess like Six Gun Gorilla or something like that, or like Kids and Monsters sounds like a high concept kind of story, which is easier to write into an elevator pitch. But even so, there is use to it in like actually, also being able to boil down your story to a point where you can just easily talk about it, easily describe it.
Yeah, but I think like how Steve was saying, it's like I have a hard time. Like I see the value of it. Like obviously you need to be able to actually say that expediently, because whoever can help you out with it or to collaborate with you doesn't have like all day and not necessarily gonna have the time if you like send them over like multiple like pages explaining your things. Like I don't know. It's hard to be enticed by it at times, and like even when they give you an elevator pitch. At the same time, it's just like, so monsters being summoned by kids. But there's a bunch of monsters being summoned by kids and like something about a divorce.
Here's the same artist, Maxi. He did Lost Pages.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, he's really good.
I can do that. How about this?
What?
How about what?
I'm assuming you're trying to share something, Steve?
I don't see any share screens, but
it wasn't loving it.
Oh, okay, I see. You're just sharing. Hold on.
Oh yeah, that's just the Zane comic stuff. Here's the Max Dallas stuff.
Oh, we get to see behind the screen.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
I gotta keep all this.
Yeah,
I gotta
really
keep
like
all this
his art.
magazine stuff in the background, but I can want to.
That's
spot color.
That's the silhouette. He's like the Shadow, but also the Punisher, and it's by Maxi.
That's sweet.
It's kind of like Grendel. It's black, white, and then there's some red.
Yeah, I like that. His use of blacks is really good.
Chimera?
Yeah, that's the supplemental book. I bought both books. It's Lost Pages Volume 1. He has Lost Pages Volume 2.
Kind of elevator pitch. I would say not just dumb it down, but you have to like kind of laser focus on like the core of it.
There's some rules about how you go about it. You have to describe the conflict, mostly the external conflict and stuff, but they're like all technical stuff about.
But it's different for every type of story as well. But I don't know. It sort of is just you have to understand what situation calls for which kind of pitch as well.
Yeah, it's like again, I'm terrible with names. So it's like I hope that nobody that's in the chat or that has come over takes it as an offense. So me not mentioning. It's like I forget.
How dare you?
What was the other campaign by the other Chris? Was like Evertale or like
Infinitale?
Infinitale, yeah. So
yeah, Chris was in the chat. I just saw him. Hey, Chris.
Like it really hit me with Infinitale. Like, and I do want to get that story. I want to check out what Chris's story is, but like, it is not the usual kind of story that I would even care about. Because like, if I heard the pitch, or if I just read the summary of it, I probably would not have interested. But it's just how Chris pitched it and talked about it. It's like. We talked about like the, I know it sounds corny, but like the heart of how much was actually put into like trying to flesh out the story, like made me be interested in it. And so I was like, I don't know how to.
It might be more of a low concept story. I feel like high concept stories work better for elevator pitches. Because
I do think this, like what Chris is doing, is more low concept, but with the individual stories and arcs, like what he was talking about happens in the book with like the queen and the baby, that is something that you can narrow in on and pitch as a low concept or as a high concept. But the project overall is like there's this whole world and it's really expansive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
that's a hard pitch for me because like it's when it goes too much into just like talking to me about the lore and like this whole world, and I was like I don't really want to bog myself down with all of this. But
Dragon Multimedia, high concept and low concept. It's not. Sorry, I'm talking over you. Sorry. It's not like one is better or worse. Like high concept, low concept. It just means high concept is like the. It seems like a bad way of putting it. It's gimmicky, but like a nicer way of putting it is.
The conflict is immediately easy to understand.
Yeah, it's very easy to say.
A guy wakes up as a cockroach. Like you know exactly what that is about, and that's a high concept story. Lord of the Rings is more of a low concept story. It's like fantasy. It's about this guy who has a ring and all this stuff. And you have
Silmarillion is low concept.
So it's not saying that one's better than the other. It's saying that one is a lot easier to describe and it has an immediate draw to it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's better.
Yeah, I think, and low concept stories can be a lot more about characters internally. Instead of just externally, there's like a conflict that's really easy to explain.
I feel like maybe I'm lost because I heard you and Irene talking about. It's like, who was talking about one or the other one being better? It's like,
in the chat, no, somebody was saying that. It sounded like, if I understand correctly, someone in the chat seems to have thought we were burning Chris's work. We're not at all. I back this book, back Infinitel Chronicles, guys. Because it's not about which type of storytelling is better.
I thought I was
okay, sorry. He said it's not. He was talking to the chat. I misunderstood.
Pointing.
I apologize. But I think some people don't know those terms, though, so I think it's good that we explained it.
All right,
sorry. One could be viewed as a pejorative, but it's certainly not. It just has to do with the pace at which the story develops, etc. So yeah, those were apt descriptions. I will not add to them.
So many like D&D and gaming stuff. I'm all about that. That's our theme for today. RPG style comics. But yeah, I wish I got the other book that this artist works on. Maxie worked on.
Oh, he's in a bunch of books.
Really,
he's in quite a few. And you can certainly.
No, I haven't seen his work before.
Well,
I've seen it a lot.
I really like this one. This shot right here.
Yeah.
Heavily featured in the Lost Pages Volume 2 on sale now. When you go to go back, Lost Pages Volume 2.
Yeah, Irene, honestly, like he's been showing up a lot. I'm pretty sure that if you just Google his name or like titles, you're gonna get a bunch of results.
Well,
I don't doubt it. I just haven't come across his work personally.
Well, there was one book in 2018, Jack Irons, Steel Cowboy. He did the art for that. That was.
Yeah, I saw you guys talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his use of black and white as well.
It really looks just
really
so
nice.
much like James Heron stuff to me, honestly.
I was glad that Adam was like right as he was introducing him, because I was like, I wanted to actually talk about that. So like the moment that he says like, just like this guy and like Adam James Heron, it's like, okay, yeah. So but I keep wondering, because I've been seeing more and more artists that actually are taking cues of James Heron's style ever since he started showing up, and I kind of wonder like how that's. I haven't actually talked. I kind of want to ask James about that, like how has that felt for him, because he did used to have it back when he was just in DeviantArt. His style was very different from anybody else's, that nobody else was.
Yeah,
doing
it's like you have like your James Herons and your Sean Murphys and your Mike Mignola's, and they come out with these crazy awesome art styles, and then you see people starting to mimic them.
I went when we were back in college, and Sean Murphy actually came over to visit. I remember that everybody started he was already very popular around those circles too. But like after his talk, everybody's fucking characters started having that thing where like they put a little.
Oh, the hat's nose!
The
nose, like his guys got punched in the middle of his face.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to make like a little parody strip of like to college with like a with like a cold or something, and then like 2 days later, like every other character drawn in his style with just like the nose prints on, just having caught the same cold as him. But yeah,
it's not even a cold. It's like you should do a style that totally doesn't fit that his hatching, but just everything except for everything is really clean, but the nose just like fingerprints all over it.
Yeah. Well, it didn't help that our professor Sean Crystal was also like really pushing for everybody to just try and experiment with mediums. So like I think that was like his big example. It's easy, and he started like seeing like fingerprints everywhere. Just put fingerprints on things.
Well, I remember his demo. He did a demo. I don't know if it's the same. It probably was the same one that I went to, but he did like a drawing of Batman and car in the Batmobile, and like cars are his thing. Yeah, there's that one with the building in the background. Yeah, that one, and he did ink wash over it, and he was just like talking the whole time casual, and I whipped this thing out in like 20 minutes, and we were all like, "Oh my god!" So it was really cool. He was good as well, but yeah, I don't know. I think everyone has their influences, but you have to find your own style. Just copying someone else's work doesn't work.
I guess so, but it's just like illustrators or like other artists. Like I know that's like a lot of people can attach themselves to being unique and it being their own style, but sometimes I guess they do develop into just that.
I think a certain element of imitation in a great number of artistic pursuits almost requires imitation, and then the melding of the various influences that you have eventually kind of form a cohesive whole. It's not the same as,
it's not like you're trying to trace or like still outright rob somebody of the style, but like I think that's for a lot of people that's actually how the development of their own style starts out with. Like there's no like instructional manual on how to like figure out your own fucking style.
I like the story about how Hunter S. Thompson once typed out F. Scott Fitzgerald novels rather, word for word, because he wanted to know what it felt like. And God Almighty, I can't read F. Scott. I'm not reading The Great Gatsby. Are you shitting me? I'm not doing it. But I love me some Hunter S. Thompson, But that's something that he did.
That's weird.
Yeah. Well,
that help? I don't. Like writing is not the same as drawing. I get if you're like mimicry and drawing, you're studying, the master's work or something.
I can't draw anything, and I think that story's pretty far out there. And
I have trouble believing that, but okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's like something about like muscle memory and just kind of like internalizing things when you have to do it yourself.
It is.
Like even when we're drawing, like sometimes it actually does have like I won't remember or even learn how to like, even if I figure out like a technique and I figure out like what materials I want to use with it, unless I actually practice it, like I need that muscle memory to remember just the feel and the weight of the tool and stuff like that.
That's right.
Well, the muscle memory part of it, comment on this analogy. Nobody ever learned to play guitar with their first composition.
Right.
Yeah, muscle memory is a lot of it, because just think of it as trying to draw with your offhand. You have all the information about drawing in your brain, and I'm sure if you lost your drawing hand, most people could train themselves to use their non-dominant hand, but it's that memory, and it's those like the synapses are connected to those motions.
Yeah. And like the connection to like what we were talking about, like imitation and stuff. Like what I wanted to say was just. A lot of people do start actually developing their own style by imitating somebody else, because like you're just a fucking kid, or you're just starting out at some point.
Not only that, you can be a professional. Like I still do that once in a while. Like you don't want to like show those off as like something that you do, but you still like sometimes just copying other artists' work is like, this is how they did it. Okay.
I hate copying.
they figure it out to a certain degree.
Well, it's not for everybody. It
Yeah,
works for me once in a while.
Yeah, like I there's
learn
a
stuff from it.
like I think
I'm not in favor of tracing, but I would assert that
James Herron has had a wave of people that have taken cues off of him. Like, think about how many people have actually taken from like Kevin Nolan, or like what is that? What is the that guy that does a bunch of cross hatching on Batman? Jim Lee. Like there's a. How many people start out with just like grabbing his comics and wanting to draw their Batman, and then they figure things out slowly. But like eventually, like unless you're like super stuck to doing so, you're never gonna like get it 100% their style. So it will permeate onto your own sensibilities.
Yeah, I gotta say, I like Mike Mignola's his artwork a lot. I actually
how many people have imitated
I
Mike
actually
Mignola?
like he has some imitators who have gotten hired to work on Hellboy and BPRD, and I actually kind of like their art style more a lot of the time.
Oh no!
Like that's true because like they figure that out, and it's like what happens when someone is like
add a bit more sort of themselves into it.
Yeah, what happens when somebody that's also very
really
talented grabs onto somebody that has already figured all of these things out, and now they get a head start on the progress to figuring out this style.
Yeah, it's like being a Jim Lee clone or even a Joe Madureira clone. They can just get work amping or getting someone else's style.
That is true. If you're comfortable with drawing that style, because sometimes it's like you're forcing yourself to draw in a style that's not your own, and that really sucks.
I'm not in favor of tracing, but I certainly maintain that every writer is the assimilation of everything he's ever read, and that every artist is the assimilation of every artist they've ever seen drawn, whether they ape the style or not.
Yeah, nothing is created in a void.
Yeah, you know what? Like actually, since we were just talking with Adam's campaign, like Alejandro is actually a good example of actually grabbing off of other people's inspiration, because like we said, like he actually started as an illustrator, so most of his work is actually fitting in onto other people's styles to fit in, and he got used to that for his own comic art. Like if you actually look at it,
go to his pages. It looks like it's like an amalgamation of a bunch of different artists sometimes, because he's a chameleon as an artist.
What I wanted to get at was that he actually is a huge fan of fighting games. So his main comic book style is actually based off of imitating and wanting to be hireable by the Udon guys, because he really liked that fighting style stuff. So it's like
just Street Fighter and
just
stuff?
like his the Udon guys are the ones that do the comics for them.
Oh, okay.
And do a lot of their art books and stuff like that. So it's like he loves that shit. And like if you
I don't know what Udon is, but I know what Street Fighter is.
Udon, they do comics for the Street Fighter comics. It looks a lot like this, honestly. The art style looks a lot like this.
Alejandro even said that this character was like very heavily inspired by a combination of like Udon stuff and also old-timey image comics. He like really liked that. What is that? The big gray guy with the tiny head that also takes care of a little kid. Pit from
it is Sam Keithish for sure. Yeah.
Zaid Comics says that's great practice. I used to practice writing comic scripts in reverse, writing from already completed comics to screen what I saw in panels. That actually sounds like a useful exercise.
Yeah, it's kind of like when we had to do pages off of little pieces of scripts to kind of get a hold of like how scripts actually kind of work to translate them onto pages.
Yeah, but in reverse. That's interesting. They should do that in comic school.
Yeah, I kind of learned it. I've been talking about that. It's like something similar is script analysis, where literally like you can read a book or like a comic or whatever, and then just like say, what are they doing here? And then you just parse it out. And you learn.
I think Phil's a great
backward from that, trying to like boil it down.
Yeah.
Just analysis.
Well, everyone who wants to write should be doing that, like actively reading and thinking about underneath the story, what are they trying to do? Like what the motifs are, like how things in the story echo each other and all that kind of stuff. Phil's great.
Yeah, Phil is, he's obviously naturally talented, but, to do so well at a pretty young age, God, I hate Phil, so young.
How old is he?
He's the same age as me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, screw you guys.
I hate you too.
Yeah.
It's fine. No, Phil's my nephew. You're like the poor cousin I put in.
Yeah.
That's very impressive. You gotta start young. Yeah.
But
you want to see?
I could insult Khmer all night. That'd be fun. But yeah, I mean, Phil has really studied the.
What's that?
Yeah.
It's Longhorner, Alejandro Mirabal.
Oh no, we're gonna give him ego. I mean, it feels all right.
Phil has studied how you make comics forwards and backwards.
Beware the skinny chef in the comic. Reddit doesn't read comics. Yeah. I mean, it blows my mind that there would be a comic Reddit doesn't read comics, but I guess that exists out there. Wouldn't that be sad? Yep. Or the tattoo artist who doesn't have tattoos. That's a no-go.
Oh gosh, look at that story from Alex, guys. My art teacher threw my brushes away, said that they were tainted by my touch. And
Holy shit!
What the fuck?
Holy shit! Okay, I told you guys before that my math teacher told me to jump out the window, throw myself in the trash. This is harsher than that.
Well, like, it's not even that. This was his art teacher.
Your art teacher! Tainted by your touch. Did you go to school in Asia? That sounds like some like Chinese school shit.
You know what though? Like the most surprising
very
thing
pretty
for
monsters.
me of this
I like
is that
it.
Take me off.
an art teacher would do this because like from all the schools that I went around, like all hopping from different countries and stuff, like I felt like art teachers were the biggest pushovers ever. Like to actually hear about an art teacher that actually like made you run laps.
I know that is a little surprising as well. I mean, even in Taiwan, it's like all the teachers were like total cutthroats, but art is like whatever. You're not gonna actually make money off of this anyways, so have fun. Yeah, that's harsh, Alex. That's harsh. Oof.
I'm going with a pretty funny story that didn't actually happen.
I don't know, like if
it's a funny story. It's a good line.
I will believe unless proven otherwise.
Yeah, it's a good line.
Let me see if we got any more backers on this. Y'all should. How many days does this have left? 22 days left. So I don't know. I forgot to ask him if this is like his first 30 days or if it's 60 days.
It's his first 30 days.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
it's too great.
I think he's going to do really well on this, and I hope he does.
Yeah, already 50%. Yeah, they got this.
Yeah, well, it's 90% funded, but
90. Oh, it's so tiny. I thought that was.
Well, you see the giant green bar that's almost full.
Yeah,
but no, I think he's gonna make at least 10K, if not more.
Cool.
I hope he makes much more than that.
Oh man, I can't help but wanna see the person that actually ends up getting that colored figure, because I remember when Casey and I were backing one of the first projects that we actually backed was also a board game, and it was this the Siege thing. And it was because one of our favorite artists was actually doing the art for it. Oh gosh, his stuff was so gorgeous, and they got such nice painters to paint those figures. That's why I was telling you, like I had seen those. They're just so good.
Enrique Fernandez is the guy who worked on Besieged.
Which, by the way, he's on a new campaign right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got just some of his art. I think we got this with the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And I just stuck it to my wall.
It's a little postcard that we got. Yes. Oh, this. Yeah, Eric, could you zoom in on this one?
Oh yeah, sure. Everybody's showing off books today.
Can I?
I can't see anything. It's too dark.
There we go.
This is why you don't make prints in gloss, everybody.
So you can't show them on screen.
I want everybody to know that my prints are all matte.
But yeah,
all matte surface.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah,
there we go. Oh, that's cool.
Every page is this beautiful.
I like how brushy it is.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Is that like a little tiny character with smoke?
Yeah, it's about dwarves. This is his main.
Oh my gosh! That's so cute.
Yeah.
This is his main comic. It's called Brigada, as you can see here.
Which is Brigade.
Brigade?
Yeah.
It's from Spanish. Is he from Spain or something?
Yeah, he's Spaniard.
Okay, that's right. But yeah, his comic is all about dwarves, and he has the craziest, coolest art style.
Yeah.
And he did a board game, and we backed the Kickstarter for it. Now we have it.
Yeah.
That's
one of the
awesome.
prettiest things we own.
Yeah, I think like every year.
That looks so good.
Really pretty.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Alice Berry, you're just shitting us. Sure. Oh, so, Steve, did you want to talk about Rocket? That's why you're here, right?
I guess.
No, you should talk about Rocket. We have time. We're not at 2 hours yet. Come on.
We're rambling about all this other stuff. I thought Steve had just come out to hang out.
He doesn't come
I'm
to
good with that,
hang out
yeah.
with us.
I do. I've come in here and hung out before.
Well, I
Periodically.
am supposed to be sending you pages for this book as well, so
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
am contributing. This is a
Yeah.
great opportunity to actually talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, I guess that if I'm going to talk about it, I'll say that there was a time I've worked on a bunch of books, and if you bought some comic book books, chances are you got one somewhere on your shelf that I've worked on, and it's been a lot of fun, and still doing that, of course. But I'm also doing a magazine, and part of what it's predicated on is that Eileen, I hadn't seen your work until I was putting together the Red Label comic stuff, and it was one of the things that really made me realize, you know, I used to know everything in Comicsgate. I was here at the ground level and been around for a minute, but there's so much talent and so much stuff going on that, yeah, I don't know. I guess the basic concept is that I'm doing a magazine. It's a little bit like Wizard. It's a little bit like a lot of other things. And I'm going to showcase some of the really successful campaigns and talk to the guys that did them to maybe give some insight into how that works. And then I'm also going to feature a whole lot of other stuff that I know is getting increasingly difficult for everybody to see, you know. I mean, I can't get everything, but you know, I can put some stuff you haven't seen before in front of your eyes, perhaps.
So it's a lot like the Red Label book, where it's a collection of a bunch of upcoming crowdfunded.
There's some similar components, but it's also there's interviews, full-length interviews with 5 or 6 guys or something like that, and shorter question and answer type of interviews, and you know, feature profiles. And, you know, there's some excerpts and some previews, some upcoming work. Like Nasser was kind enough to give me, Kamara, say it for me.
I think Chimera stepped out for a second, actually.
Bastard. I don't know how to say Nosferatu. I just cannot say Nosferatu. Is that the German vampire?
Nosferatu?
Nosferatu?
Thank you. Kamara, you bastard.
Weren't here when you needed them.
Back on point, yeah. I've got a preview that nobody's seen yet from Nasser, and that's his next book. And you know, it's a retelling of the original, you know, that vampire saga. I don't know.
Right.
It's a bunch of stuff, but you know, the whole idea is to bring a little bit more attention to the things that have worked for those that are interested in how to make it work, and also for, you know, straight at the consumer level, if you pick up a copy, chances are you'll see something you haven't seen yet. Because, again, I used to see everything. I don't think that's possible anymore.
No, there's so many
imagine
people doing crowdfunded books.
Yeah, there's so much talent, and I just kind of want to showcase it and bring a little more attention to it.
Right.
And,
That's a good idea. Like, I mean, I don't know if this was one of the focuses, Steve, but like, I think one of the cool things is like, especially seeing how much people on chats and when it seemed to kind of gather around very particular niche circles, being able to have a project like this that actually talks about a diversity of projects can be really helpful to kind of break out of not just like individual people to kind of be aware of like just what's happening in general, but just break out of what the usual stuff that they're being kind of promoted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like these collections. It's like Shonen Jump basically, but for indie comics.
Yeah.
And there are different ways of doing it, which Red Label, if you guys in chat don't know about that, that's another kind of collection that, Steve, you're also editing that as well, right?
Yeah. I put that together for Simon.
Yeah, but this is a sort of different,
similar thing. Yeah, I mean, there's elements of Shogun Jump in here. You know, I'm influenced by everything that I've seen and I've liked, pursuant to our discussion a little earlier. So there's some of that. You know, the Red Label Comic Showcase, you can get that on Amazon. It's really affordable, and it is excerpts, previews, and in some cases, complete chapters of I know it's 270 pages. I'm trying to remember how many people were involved in that. It was a massive headache to put that print file together. Yeah, massive. But it's really cool, and it kind of gets the word out. And yeah, I mean, the magazine's predicated on the idea that I have some major interviews with some people that have had demonstrable success in this game. But I might have a few more questions for them. Like, for instance, Art Thibert. He's got a legendary, towering resume. He had the longest run on Spider-Man recorded. He's done Superman, this, that, and other thing. He's also done a whole lot of things that people don't know so much about. And he was kind enough to give me like 3 hours of his time. And regrettably, over the course of 10 pages, a lot of that's going to hit the cutting room floor. But you're going to get the stuff that really pertains to how you go from point A to point B and what his creative process is. I really like thinking about how different people, it's interesting being an editor in this game because every situation's different and you got to figure out how to make it work. And everybody, John Malin doesn't do the things the way that Art does them, but they're both effective. And
yeah, this is on. I'm going to post this link. It's going to be like 5 paragraphs, but I'm posting a link in the chat as well. You guys can go get Red Label here. I'm also
that's really cheap, and it's a great, and that brings me back on point. I really hadn't, you might have drifted past my peripheral vision, Irene, but there's a lot going on.
I'm already new to indie comics.
There's a lot going on, and I actually, this isn't the only thing I do. Mostly it is, honestly. But the point is that I mean, Sim was like, "Hey, if I get these guys to do, I'm going to get everybody together. Can you actually put it all together for me?" And I'm like, "I'll kill you, Sim." But, and then, but anyway, that's I mean, I might have saw your stuff, in passing on social media or something, but when I was actually presented with, what's in there of yours, like 17 or 21 sequential pages or something like that. You got a big chunk of that.
Oh yeah, I put basically what's on the website, but it's the grayscale version of. I have like the first 20 pages of chapter 1 for free, just because I knew I was a new creator and I wanted people to be able to just see how the story actually read and show people that I actually have pages done for Fiendish. So the grayscale pages for Fiendish are in this book. Are in the Red Label.
A few cover pages, open it up, and then the grayscale and again, that's I'm very impressed. I think it's really, really good work. And
thank you. Well, I like this idea is really cool because again, it's like Shonen Jump, and I haven't seen a lot of that for American comics. And because first of all, it's really great that there are so many people making comics, and like you're saying, that some people fly under the radar, and it's because there are so many people making comics. But how does somebody who wants to find a comic that suits them in this landscape, how do they go about doing that? I think books like Rocket or like Red Label are a really great avenue for that because it's a sampler of a ton of different stories. And with Red Label, it's like a huge sampler, but with Rocket, you get to know the creators as well. And if you want to do indie comics, I am assuming that getting to know the process of the creators and how they got about to doing all their projects would also be really interesting and really helpful. So that's a double whammy for people who they just want to support indie comics or people who are looking into getting into this scene. So I really support all these like magazines and stuff. I think that's a great way to kind of gather resources and like cross-pollinate readership, So sorry, Nick, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, like, I think you're always mentioning the sample platter of the comics that are being showcased, but what I find novel on the idea is actually having all of these interviews, because for me that's actually more interesting here, because I feel like the previews and the samples, like, it might, although it is enticing visually to have it on the book, it feels like something, okay, I feel like I could actually get this easily enough just looking it up online if I was interested in a creator, and I just need a name and a few samples of their work to just kind of see kind of what it
There's
is.
yeah.
I
Well,
like it.
I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying it's like what I'm really interested in is the interviews, because kind of like similar to what Irene said, it's like, oh, I haven't seen something like Shonen Jump and stuff, but like with North American comics, I actually encountered something kind of like that when I was in high school. And again, we get leftover shit or like reprints that came out badly over here in Latin America. I found this book that was like, it looked like one of those like how to draw manga, but it was talking about like North American comic books, and it really drew my attention. It was this weird book. I forget the title of it, but it was actually talking about indie comic book creators, and I didn't know what that even was at the time. And they interviewed them, which for me was incredible because I had never seen that. And like that's actually also how I even learned about Oni Press, because amidst other, they had some like more well-known, like Marvel and DC artists in there. And I was like, okay, that looks like superhero stuff. Anyway, but I really focused on this one that was called Blue Monday, which is very influenced by anime. Like really, really anime-looking girls, and it's like the slice of life thing. And the interview is what actually kind of made me even consider that I could do comics, because it was just some person that talked about their thing and like not talking about like how cool it is to collaborate with Ron Romita Jr. or whatever, but just like, I have this project, it was not being accepted by others. I have this influence. I love the like anime and manga talks about these things that I know and connect to me as a Latino kid in the middle of nowhere. And
that's I mean, very, very similar.
Like that's
I used to be a regular go to the comic store on Wednesday guy, and spend too much money all the time. But I would, if there was a new, I mean, Wizard was pretty mainstream actually, but there were a number. There was Comics Book Journal and Alter Ego, and there were all these magazines, fanzines, or whatever that talked about how they did it, and and
we never got them.
I came to understand who some of those people were that way, and it was kind of inspiring.
I actually don't. I never saw that with North American or just like any creators with comics. Like you have like gaming magazines, will do interviews with like game designers and stuff, but not with comics. And even with like, because again, I grew up in Taiwan and I would get the Japanese manga magazines, but manga artists are all very introverted and they're all very private, so you don't really get interviews with them. You just get like little snippets and blurbs that they put at the beginning of the tankobons. So like what I'm seeing here with the interviews, this is really new to me. And I know that what like the big two in the past have done like artist interviews and stuff back when they were more about actually showcasing their talent. Then like this is, I think, more interesting to people who are creators. I think having the compilation of all the different works is convenient for new readers to the scene, because where do you go to find, like, you can just go on Indiegogo and look at what is in the comics section, but that just lists like the most recent ones or the ones that make the most money. There might be a gem that's buried way in the back and it won't show up. How do you find those things?
I'm not trying to discredit the part.
How dare you? I know.
Like obviously, like that's as much of a draw for even a kid looking at the book, or just like somebody that wants to actually peruse what's out there. But it's just like what Steve actually like summarizing what this has. That's just what jumps out to me, because I don't see that. We never got the Wizards magazine. We never saw any of these things actually talk about creators. And even when we go to conventions here, it is a completely alien concept for aspiring artists that come up to us like, how do you make it? How do you make contacts? How do I go to the US? How do I make comics? Where do I learn? I have chicken scratch. I have to go to do graphic design. I have to earn a living. Like, because you don't get an influence or even a glimpse into somebody that is not some, I don't know, like 50-year-old guy that has been working for who knows how long there. It's like, I was born in the US and I've been doing this. Okay, that sounds like an abstract thought to me, being from here. Like, that's great for them. I'll never be able to do that. I guess I'll go back to drawing an ad for a juice box. So that's really cool to me. I really like that glimpse into other creators and like having their thoughts out there and like hearing the hustle of actually getting these books and projects done, because that's I feel like what makes it. Although I know that most people is like looking and see like, oh, where can I get things? Where are these other circles that might have some cool projects? I really like the idea of just like the far off glimpse of seeing this as something possible. Because for me, it was just like thing on like again like a resale market, just a book sunk into in the middle of like just random math booklets and stuff that were just being resold and whatnot. Just that looked like a comic book.
But I think even for people growing up in America, that a lot of people don't know how to go about doing comics or making comics, and there aren't that many resources out there that tell them, especially nowadays, especially now that conventions aren't a thing, at least for now. And even if conventions were a thing, kind of know that the way to get into making comics is not going to conventions anymore. And what if you want to do indie comics? There is no guidebook about that. So no matter where you're from, I'm very interested in hearing these interviews. I think this is going to be interesting knowledge. Yeah. By the way, I wanted to point out those are nice page layouts. Good job on the design, Steve. I like that.
Yeah. I shouldn't even be showing any of this because but
oh well. Well, you want people to buy it. Everybody back to his book.
I'm scrolling relatively rapidly, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, you got lines all over it. It's not like they can screenshot it. Hey, if you like what you see, back.
Yeah, it's the actual design file. I'm not showing a PDF yet.
No, it's I kind of am fascinated. I like seeing the design files as well, but that's like a nice layout and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, but it is, I mean, basically I'm doing this because, I'm going to talk to Vault Cobalt about his book here, What made you decide to do this? How would you do it? What is wrong with you? That kind of thing. and then there's a little show and jump,
First question of every interview with the comic creator. What is
wrong with you?
I would love a very passive interest, like, oh man, it's great to have you on this interview. Like I've been looking like, anyway, what is wrong with you? It's like
exactly.
That's a valid question though. Like you've got to be kind of fucked in the head to want to do indie comics. It's a good question. Good question. It seems almost like it's like a YouTube show, but in book form. Like you interviewed a creator, you show some of their work.
Maybe people don't want that. I don't know, but I believe in physical comic books. I believe in
I mean,
I don't know.
At least coming from an area that is deprived of most information about comics, this seems really cool. I really like the potential of this stuff.
Hey, Steve, do you have any? Have you thought about maybe like trying to distribute it to like stores and stuff as well, or are you just selling it online?
Yeah, I think that's a long ways off. I mean, not that I think it's impossible. I would certainly like to take it from a crowdfunding model to more of a subscription-based model.
Well, maybe if it's successful.
I don't know, yeah, we would probably bore people to death with that discussion, but I'd be happy to have it with you guys if you ever wanted to. I mean, I've done a lot of mainstream publishing and a lot of periodical publishing. And, there's ins and outs to everything, but the short answer is shelf space ain't easy to get, lady. That's the short answer. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's also the fact that it mostly connects to, again, like something that is online with all the campaigns kind of going on.
It is.
So it's like more having a more direct connection with that audience, I feel like would be something online, but like something to like keep them like constantly connected. I mean, I don't know if this is, I'm assuming that you've already thought about something like this, Steve, but like, again, for me, it's super novel, the fact that like comicsology is a thing, because to me, again, very deprived over here. Comics really hard to get. The fact that I can now actually not have to rely on pirating a comic when I don't want to, and actually buy the freaking thing, because it's impossible to either get it here or I have to pay like I don't know how much on shipping, because shipping sucks here.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how they do it.
I should start calling this show "Save Columbia."
It's
every streaming. Oh, I feel so bad for you.
Maybe I've been whining too much about.
You've been whining a little bit today.
Yeah. Okay. I guess what I wanted to get is like, I don't know, like is something like that like a useful platform, actually having like the subscription basis, or even promoting the magazine to show off more, digital comics through this other digital platform, even having a comiXology, like that could be cool. Because like I personally wouldn't mind that, like I love the accessibility of just being able to read my comics in there. And like if I had the publication talking about all the Kickstarter things and like Indiegogo, because like I don't really browse Indiegogo and Kickstarter. I just kind of wait for cool projects to get suggested to me occasionally
Right.
by other creators, or like on ads and stuff. So
Right.
I don't know, like maybe I'm niche on like having that preference, but I actually think that could be a cool thing, and I would definitely be paying to constantly be getting those.
I think, there again, the easy availability of information over your phone or over your computer has certainly replaced the information model. Unfortunately, it really hasn't replaced the economic model. And that's where Comicsgate's a very interesting, independent comics in general, comics to some extent, but we're over here on the indie side. I understand the problems all too well with getting things overseas. I initially didn't want to sell Rocket except domestically because of that. And there's a few of those sell, they're like, we got to have it, and it's going to cost me a little bit of money. So, but
overseas is a whole other thing, because I'm currently in shipping hell with Australia, and I will figure it out. But it's rough. What I have been doing is, by the way, I haven't updated everyone on this. The Japanese translation for Fiendish is done, and it's actually, he's been done with it for like a couple weeks, but I have to letter it, and I haven't had time. But that is in the works.
There you go. That's yet another advantage of having actually done all the sound effects in Lunarsen. Is it?
Nanarsa. Yeah, I don't have to translate it. Yay! Everybody has to learn my language.
You just have to translate your little key for the language, and then you're good.
Right. It'll be perfect.
I actually did figure out the Australia problem. If you just ship it global post, it'll go through. Not
right. All right, I still do. I just kind of put the Australia books to the side, but I will. So your books will get to you, Australia backers. I'll probably look into it next week. But I think I want to reach international backers as well. And I'm a huge supporter of print books, but for some countries that's just too hard. I think one way that indie comics can expand, and we've kind of talked about this in our episode with about South American comics, is by doing translation, because doing translations is not that expensive or that hard. And if you do a translated edition and put it out digitally, every region kind of has their own like digital comics platform, but it kind of exists, and there's even like kind of regional crowdfunding platforms. And if you have the connections and you can just find a translator, it doesn't cost that much to translate your own book. Like the internet has opened that door. It's not like the olden days where you have to wait until your book gets popular with the publisher and the publisher handles the translation. You can do your own friggin' translation and put it on like webtoons.
Yeah, we've been trying to push Andres on that. Like AC keeps talking to him about like how his comic would do well in the international market, and obviously he needs that help with translating it over to English. But
we had this whole talk with him.
But aside from all the complications like shipping and all the stuff around, to get things here in Colombia, it's the whole thing where like I feel like our population here leans towards old. It's like I don't know what the words for this is, but like our percentile population is like very much on traditionalist and then older side. We actually have
as in your age is actually you have more old people. That's a lot of places in the world though.
Right now it's actually it's one of the things and how it's affected is like we're very stagnant on technology and actually updating things. So like even though having things have options to be able to just order things online or like mailing them. It's just now people are getting their ass in gear to do it, but only because of COVID. Like before COVID, like all these things are just a guarantee. Like they might be there, they won't work, they won't get to you.
Gosh.
Their phones are not updated. Their website is not updated. They don't even know that they have a website because it's their grandson doing it for them. So like all of this shit doesn't work. And like together with that, this is like the people are not adapted to it. A lot of things are not up to date, much less government websites, which are terrible here. It creates a distrust from everybody here and handling things digitally or overseas or being mailed. So even when we have things that work, like I've been actually, again, really fascinated with the idea that Comixology exists. When we went to conventions, I was constantly pushing it to people like, guys, like you can read comics now.
Comixology,
Comixology, check it out. And like people are like, yeah, but it's like online and there's like transactions. Like they're very afraid of it.
Oh no, the internet!
The internet was burned.
Everything. It's not even like the early 2000s where it was clunky. You just click 2 buttons and you can pay for shit.
Websites here are super shitty, Irene. Like they're so
but that's
shitty.
not like Comixology.
But people assume that everything's like that, and it's kind of, you know how like what do you call those machines where you can like get the soda dispenser things? I forget what. Yeah, soda machines. You know, like
soda. Dispenser machines. There you go. English. What is English?
Anyway, vending machines are everywhere. We all know they exist, but I feel like the stereotype is 30% of the time it's gonna steal your money because it won't work properly because those things are not very well maintained most of the time.
Stereotype.
Are you serious?
It's a stereotype, and it has happened to me 50% of the time that I work with any of those things. It will steal my money. I'm like, I gave up completely on using it, and it's that relationship that a lot of people have had here with online websites.
Hey guys,
it robs their money. It doesn't work. It claims that something exceptions your bank that is Colombian and is outdated, doesn't even know how to connect, doesn't work, rejects you halfway. It's a bunch of issues for people who trust it.
Hey everybody, so back my book, Fiendish, Nick is coloring this, and then I'd be able to pay him more and hopefully get him an AC out of Colombia. So, hey, back my book! Check it out! Woo!
Colombia isn't the problem. We just need Nick to have a new computer.
Oh, yes, Nick needs a new computer. Back Fiendish so we can buy Nick a new computer. That doesn't, seriously, like, this is one of the problems that you've been running into is, like, apparently I do work at like 600 DPI, but it's not that bad. Like my computer doesn't lag from me working on these pages, but apparently like just saving out the TIFF files for these color pages are like fucking crashing your computer.
Well, I don't know if it should be crashing it, but
no, it doesn't crash my computer. But like the thing is just like
it's a thing, man.
My thing is very. I do work on a toaster right now, but
she sounds like all. No, I'm with you, bro. She sounds like all my clients. They're like, I need you to replace this one page in this 72-page comic, and can you give me a print file back in about 5 minutes? And I'm like, I'm not rendering your shit today. You pain in the ass.
Yo, I'm very chill.
He's talking about me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm mostly talking about Khmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Irene, the thing is just like it's not even it's a combination of things because it's like it's half the files and half what I've had to do with them that makes them so slow.
That's true.
Because like like the way that we have to I know that I've rambled on this a few times. But like everybody knows like I have to color on top of that blah blah blah. It's based on effects, not really on normal layers. So like every time that I have to open it, like the visuals have to render from like up and down instead of just having it. So like it's kind of like how that little loading bar every time you want to do an effect on the layer. So it's like it has to do that every time it opens these.
But yeah, it's not just your computer. Like I did help on the flats for some of Fiendish.
It's a mix of things.
Yeah, let me explain. I didn't to complain now. So
I'm sorry, everybody.
It's not just Nick's computer, Irene, because I worked I have.
Go back to Rocket.
Not entirely up to date either, but whatever. It's not a toaster. So like, I helped flat some of these pages, and Nick will send them to me, and I'm like, it's taken 10 years to goddamn load. I'm like, screw it. I just like to flat it. I just like delete all of the layers except what I need, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna send you A single layer.
Yeah, of flats.
Just a single layer of flats so that I don't have to deal with all of these other layers.
Yes, it's a headache. And like the thing is just like, I understand like we work with different methods and with different people. Like I've never had pages that work this way. I've never had pages that actually like completely freeze my computer at times.
So backfeeder, so I can buy 2 new computers for both of them.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
I won't refuse a new computer if you're going to hand it to me, sure.
No, Ryan, no. The comic is awesome.
I flatted a couple pages. Please buy me a new computer. I am
well, you were also doing my trading cards, so.
That's true.
Yeah, the print file for Testament was really fun. I'm like, hey, I caught an error. Fix this. Okay, we're good. No, wait, I figured there's something else. I didn't read everything all the way through, and so it drove Steve fucking crazy, and he threatened to murder me.
Times like this, I'm really
wasn't
glad
necessarily
I'm
a threat.
working
Promise.
Was it a threat or a promise?
Might be an unfulfilled promise.
This kind of reminds me of one of the bars that we were on. I don't want to name it, but like we were working with a certain colorist, and there was like a bunch of notes about some of the pages after finishing issue 1, and I remember that it was like this weird back and forth because there were so many notes for the colorist that when the edits came back, it's like, well, 50% of the things that were talked about are completely missing here, and there's like no explanation. And so there's so many like back and forths, and it's like it clearly felt like he didn't want to change a lot of these things.
Oh my god! Well, just say you don't want to change.
Oh, I didn't see those. I didn't see those.
Yeah.
Maybe if you disagree with the note, just say so.
I think it's just more that it was a lot.
Yep.
Right. Okay. That is also that's a problem. Anyhow, hey, producing comics is fun, everybody.
Yeah.
Join the indie comics scene.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so much fun.
There's a lot of like there's a big technical side to it, and I think people don't expect that. Like you have to know how to set up print files, you have to know how to work with printers. I work with printers. I've been printing my own books since I was 17, but even this was like kind of a new experience in many ways for me because doing it for a comic is different. And
it is different.
I have to because I'm getting it. Yes, Steve.
Not necessarily you, Irene. If there's anybody out there that is struggling with picking up on the nuances of something that I've been doing for about 20 years now, you can just hire me for a surprisingly reasonable fee.
There you go. Everybody hire Steve.
I kind of wish, Steve, when Irene was saying, just like comics are fun, you're like, yeah. I wish you. I was kind of thinking back to the glass of, I don't know what it was that you were drinking, like bourbon or something. I kind of wish that you had raced. I was like, yeah.
I didn't like it.
It's not bourbon. It is a light pilsner. It's definitely Never touched that stuff. No, yeah. Comics are fun when they go well. Sometimes they go well. Other times you're working with Chimera. Good luck with what you do.
Well, before Steve murders Chimera, Starticon says, Irene is torturing me by taking her time shopping because I'm in the cold tier. She's a tease. Why am I a tease? You back the cold tier for Fiendish?
What does the cold tier include?
Well, it includes the color book. So that's mostly.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, we really are just, Do you want to say?
Yeah.
We have update on the colors because why not? Since we're talking about this, I think we have like 10 pages left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're really close. It's just sort of like the beginning. I don't want to go over the process again, but I have like a weird style, and the way we had to figure out how to color over the shading that was already there was pure chaos. But we have 10 pages, so that's update.
The colors were a stretch goal, right? You weren't.
Yeah.
So you were playing from the get-go, but you're planning on like changing things around to streamline that a bit.
Yeah, that's why. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'll be able to deliver in September, and that's not happening. The Grayscale books are shipping out already because the Grayscale is done. So if you back a smoke tier, that's Grayscale book shipping immediately. But the colors were a stretch goal, so I had no idea how long it would take.
Yeah, and again, for like people in the chat, like I know that I joke around a lot with Irene and bothering her about her eggs, but it also was a learning process for me. it took me a while to figure it out, and also it slowed me down and it made me crash my schedule with other things, so that I had to like now be juggling things that I thought I would be done with by then. So
Irene has a lot of detail in her line work, and she does a lot of shading, and that can be. Yeah, I'm not a colorist, but I work with some, and
that wasn't even really the hassle of it, because like we, just as Irene had said, like we had actually done the black and whites beforehand, so like it was actually rendered. It was just a matter of figuring out, because the inks had were so many different layers on top of each other, and sometimes the rendering was combined with the inks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I was like, Steve, like you weren't around when we were explaining. So like the deal was just that I had to figure out a way of doing the colors on top of the inks without mudding, graying out the blacks. And so it took me a while to figure out how to do that, and for them to be strong enough to, burn through all of the rendering and actually not look just gray. So it took me a while to figure that out. And with my toaster of a computer handling these 600 computer accounts that always lag to open anything, it took me a while, but now I have a process and I have it on my little cheat sheet of what to do every time I open an Irene page. So it took me a bit of figuring out for everybody in the chat, it will be a bit more smoothly. It caught me by surprise, but it's also part of mine. Just I underestimated how long it would take.
Learning curve for everyone.
You're also working on multiple projects. At the same time.
Well, yeah, but I underestimated. I thought that I would have this time to do it. I knew this is how I color pages. I know how long it takes me. And then it's again, and the troubleshooting with dealing with these pages took me a while. And then by the time I was like, okay, now I'm in the hang of it, let's move. It started crashing on other projects. Now I'm having to juggle at the same time.
Hey, Jason! Hello!
Hello.
I'm sorry. I apologize to headphone users. Oh boy! If you like it that much, that's cool.
Irene, I didn't know that you had actually released the flavored tears, Irene.
They're delicious.
I did. That was a secret. A secret stretch goal.
You could have not. I'm sorry to interrupt what everybody was talking about, but you could have shipped this along with the colored one. I wouldn't have been upset about it.
Oh,
that's actually what we were talking about, Jason.
Honestly, for most American backers, unless people tell me they want their books shipped together, I'm like, I want to try to get the grayscale books out. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And the packaging is
people have been waiting. Thank you. Yeah, everything is. I'd use Silver Age. I actually bought a stack of modern comic book bags, and I realized because my book is a 1/4 inch thick.
You have to use Silver Age.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm like, I got this pile of fucking. Well, I could probably use it for Ashcan in the future, but anyhow, Silver Age bag and boarded, package for a nuclear war. It's fine. Your book will get to you, no doubt.
Or you could do mini sketches or something if you send it to somebody, or an auction piece that's 6x9. Yeah, they're still good. You can still use them.
Yeah, I've been using them for auction pieces, but anyhow, yes, as you can see, ooh, that Groot cup is awesome! Oh,
I want one. I got this years ago, and they're actually out of stock, so you can't get them anymore.
Oh no! I got a sculpt one. I can make that.
They have other ones, but they don't look as cool, friendly and good. He looks more creepy in the other ones. This one is a good one. Yeah. So
actually, for me, the selling, it might just be the lighting of that, but for me, the selling point is that brown looks flesh colored, so it actually looks pretty creepy to me.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I like it though. I think it's cute.
No, I'm saying that would be a selling point for me.
So we're talking kids and monsters, huh?
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about. We got derailed, and we started talking about Rocket, and then I started giving everyone an update on Fiendish. But
it's a good book.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Wonder who made it. Wonder who made it. Yeah, it's got a bunch of monsters and fantasy stuff, and some crazy person made up a language for it. So I guess that's something.
Psycho.
Yeah.
Admit them.
Some psychopath. Yeah, I don't know. Too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
What a weirdo. Boredom. I'm not bored. I have so much work. Oh my gosh. But Yes, everyone, check out Rocket. I'm going to, and yes, Steve, I will send you the pages, but I want to letter them first. I haven't lettered any of the pages. The first few pages of.
You got a limited window of opportunity here, chick.
Okay.
Just telling you.
But I mean, you do want the lettered, right? So I have like I have a few pages for chapter 2 done, but I was like, okay, I'll do actually, I'm not going to shade it. It's not colored. It's just the inks, but I will have some chapter 2 pages in Rocket.
Work in process. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Talking about lettering, that was actually something that I found interesting that Adam was talking about when he was around. How he said that he also lettered the book, and together when he was talking about doing the what do you call it, the roughs, and sending them over to the artist at the same time. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know, is that even thumbnails? Because like they were so rough that I really would call them like the stage before that.
They were pretty sketchy, but it can be helpful, I think, to actually. There again. Yeah, everybody's got a different process. Like Donald DeLay, he'll just put the. He doesn't go to the trouble of making the bubble and drawing the tail and all that stuff because it's not his job. But from a script, he'll use some comic font and put it up there, and then he knows that's a little bit of I don't need to because some guys can do panels so busy that anywhere you put the balloon, you're laying it over something. And,
like at least when collaborating with someone, I'm not doing like my own pieces there for it. It's so useful to actually be able to know where the bubbles you like, how much of the bubbles you want, like where do you want it. Like I know, like it's kind of become like, because you usually don't get it on the script, on just like placement and stuff. I'm a part of it. Like like figure out like the
placement. Why would they tell you placement of word bubbles in the script?
I feel like that'd be really cool for whoever wants to actually. If someone's already doing roughs, like that's a big part of.
If you do it during the stage of thumbnailing it out and roughing it out, you can forestall a lot of problems that you're going to run into down the road.
Well,
you should thumbnail your word balloons in the thumbnail stage. Absolutely.
Yes, Goblin Girl launches the 26th.
Whoa!
Sign up. I also have a print for the email signups.
Ooh,
Yes.
cool.
Oh, I didn't even see Dan joining.
Yeah, like we had like 2 people just sneak in, and Dan was like,
we're ninjas, friend.
We were
Absolute
was up, but this is much better. This is much better.
No!
Leave this up.
Well,
We
Absolute
sneak
is
in-
awesome, though you can't
We
back
sneak
it
in at the
anymore.
end like rock and roll ninjas on
That's
Indiegogo,
right.
friend.
That is true. You do.
Amazing
Ooh.
Matt Barr,
Yeah,
and the rock and roll ninja,
back it now.
John Meyer.
Yes.
Oh, is
Richard-
that
Richard Meyer, sorry.
Something that she backed. What is it? Absolute.
It's a good book. You should back that now.
Absolute book 2,
Thank you for
friend. Buy
backing.
2 copies.
Buy 2 copies. Can you still get this?
What, my book? Yeah.
Is
Yeah, it's
it-
in demand.
Oh, you can still. It's in demand. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know
it's-
why I thought it wasn't. I'm stupid. It's
Okay,
in demand right
You know
here.
what? All because Irene said so, I'm ending it today. That's it. I mean, she said to do it. You heard it here.
No.
You heard it here first, friends.
You better
Close out
back
the
it now.
stream.
Stupid.
Irene's channel.
Don't back
That's
it
right.
now. Back it. There are boobs in all of these projects. I would be glad to let you know. So everybody back all of these projects for boobs. Finish Absolute Book 2, Goblin Girl. Though I think we're gonna have a hard time competing with Goblin Girl.
Yeah.
No, you're not, friend.
I think
Back these books.
after Goblin Girl launches, I'm just gonna stop doing comics because that's like the pinnacle. That's the peak.
No
Doesn't
pun
get better.
intended.
No pun
Next
maybe.
Tuesday, we're launching, by the way.
That's right.
I don't know if I
Launching
mentioned
next
that.
Tuesday.
Hell yeah.
What was the name of that old comic book? Like I think it was like Lady Death something.
Lady Death.
Yeah.
Evil Ernie, Lady Death.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're talking about like when Goblin Girl comes out like those boobs, like it's gonna be the pinnacle. It reminds me of when that was on comic stores too.
Yeah. The peak. The
Did you
voluptuous
ever
peak.
actually see the comic, honey?
I think I ran across it a while back.
I still have the Lady Death #1, the chrome one, the first one that ever came out. I still have that one.
Oh, they had a chrome one. They actually had one of those.
That was the very
Whoa.
first,
Shit, I
the
love it.
very first issue of Lady Death was had a chromium cover.
Okay,
It was just her holding the sword with bust up almost. And
Okay,
beautiful cover. Beautiful cover.
Can you write down like issue 1, honey? I'd like to see which one that was.
Issue 1, volume 1. I mean, I think you'd have to look that up because there's so many of them out there. But,
Let's see.
yeah.
For
Yeah.
reprints and stuff.
Are you talking about the chrome cover where the sword was chrome?
No, the whole cover was chrome.
I think it's that one, honey.
Because there's one where the sword itself is embossed
Yeah.
with chrome.
Yeah,
I have that
yeah,
one.
yeah. She's like looking. She's looking at it like she has like this golden blade covered in blood, and like
So
clearly the image here shows that it was like had some.
I don't know why I'm doing the stupid boomer thing. Or I'm pointing at the screen like, so this right here. Like,
Yes, Dan.
I was gonna say the color on this. Like, I'm looking at this now again, and like, as much as I think some of it is all right, the color work that Billy Basco is doing on my book, it's like he just showed me a piece to like not like 10 minutes ago because I was over there and I was like, oh, Irene's on. I should go say hello because I'm been so busy lately with work and everything else. I always miss your streams and Fraga's June and Fraga, not Fraga June, but Fragtober.
I keep on saying Fraga June too.
Yeah.
Help me.
But like he was showing me like a piece that he colored that I gray toned. That I remember when I gray toned it, I was like, yeah, I think I captured that well. And then he colored it and like added stuff like heightened elements to it, and I was like, fuck, my gray tones don't even look as good as that now.
But that's the mark of a great colorist, though.
It is, dude. Like I am like.
Yeah.
When I came over here and I started running around and like meeting people like out of Fragasphere, like when I met Irene and AC and the whole gang, like I started going around to different shows like this and trying to like see more people out in the various pockets of this
bubble,
dungeon maze of a community that we are. Like, there's the little gold room over here, and here's
here's
the
a
altar
Weebs
room.
and D&D room. Come join us.
Exactly.
Friend.
So I met Billy through Skip's stream, and I have to say, like, and Matt Barr too. Like when I saw Matt Barr stuff, and I was like, man, I want to be friends with this dude. I love this guy's art. And then like I became friends with him. I was like, what the fuck? And then Billy was like one of those dudes I saw in Skip stream, and I was like, oh, I would get along with this guy. We got a lot in common, and like I'm like, Billy's one of my best friends now too. And it's just like, and fucking like I saw some early color stuff he did, and it was good, but it wasn't on my style of art. It was like more like cartoony, like anime-ish sort of looking stuff.
Okay.
And he was like, I really want to color your book, and I was like, I like those colors, but I don't know if they're right for Goblin Girl because they were really bright. They were, they were like candy-like to a certain degree, and I was like, those would be great on my kaiju book that I have, but I don't know if they would be good on this. And I'd already said yes to Matt Yackey to color it, and then it was weird. Like it just happened that Matt fell out, and then he ended up doing the colors on this piece.
Yes.
I really
So
like
good.
this. Coupled with the Chimera is mature name tag. Let this
But look-
screenshot this.
Look at the shine. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but as they're moving around, look at the shine, like the light coming off of that glass and stuff.
Yeah.
There's lots of like little things
I
like
thought you were gonna be able to shine out of those boobs.
Well, those
That's
two.
too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, there's
I don't know
elements of
anymore.
things that he adds in that like are like stuff that I probably should have done that Billy like just does, and I'm just like, okay, it just works. I couldn't have gotten luckier than to meet Billy and have him working on my
Oh
art.
Lord
Thank you,
save
Chimera.
us.
That's always really cool because like so many.
It's gonna be the rest of the whole stream.
Yeah, because you're kind of having to actually like fill out your schedule, so you have to do the bare minimum sometimes on some projects and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like also combined with some projects actually just have the expectation of kind of like how Adam and Steve were talking about, just kind of fill in what the writer says.
Right.
Right.
Because like you have to kind of be very much like color in the lines as opposed to actually add something. It's always cool when there's pieces that actually have the opening to let you build upon and put your own 2 cents into the piece.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I let him go. Like he's been coloring this thing, and he's going through stuff, and he goes, so what color did you see this? And I'm like, man, I hadn't even thought about that. Like show me something. And like, if you show me something and I think it looks off, I'll be like, maybe not so much that. And for the most part, I would say it's been 90% like Billy's making color choices. And I'm going, oh yeah, that's amazing. That's better than what I was thinking. Yeah. And so, I mean, because when it comes to that, like I had, like with these images here that I did, they were twofold. I wanted some color images for my mailing list to show people like what this would look like in color. And I also was using it as a way to like kind of give samples of what the characters' color schemes are, so that if I needed later to like color it, I'd have these as my reference point. And also for, at the time I was going to have Matt, I'd be like, Matt, these are what I was thinking. Everything else is open. If I have something specifically in mind for a jewel or something like that, I'll let you know.
Yeah, but it's not just like referencing the characters. Just like even by having that, it kind of creates a spectrum of what to expect out of the book. And it's kind of like what you were talking about, how the pictures that you had seen from him actually working on this more kind of cartoonish style can kind of peg you as like that is kind of what you draw. Like, you know, that's also one of the dangers that I saw when we meet with people over like in Heroes Con over in the US, is that when we talk to some other colorists, they get really psyched up about the fact like, oh, that I just got my first big project, like I really want to show this off, and they swallow their whole portfolio with it. And the problem is like it does the same thing as with dance. Like it makes people think that that's all you can do. Whereas like unlike an inker that, you know, kind of sells themselves on the style. This is how I look like. This is the kind of book that I do. The colors has to kind of more adapt onto the individual book that they're in. And if you don't showcase that, you do end up looking like a one-trick pony.
And that's why I wanted to work with Ink Spots, because I knew he could do very different styles, and very, he can adapt to the style that he's given to, you know, color over. So I really wanted to work with Ink, and I'm so glad him and I are teamed up. Billy and Dan are teamed up. It's just, they're great teams. Billy and Dan mesh well together, and Ink and I do as well. It's just funny how it worked out. So, with Cobble Girl.
Speaking of Ink Spots, the secret tier thing that is the just for the mailing list. If you sign up for the mailing list and then you back the book, Jason's doing a print that's going to be for that. And now I think I'm also going to be adding a print that Luke did that Ink Spots colored.
Death Metal Hero.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is like amazing. It's going to be big enough to fit inside of a comic mailer, so it's a mini print. But don't fret if you miss out on that. I mean, you're going to want it big. I mean, it's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
But I think I'm also might have it as a trading card as well. And what I'm thinking about doing with the trading cards is I'm going to do probably 2 different sets. I'm going to do one that's all Matt Barr goblins that he made. And then I think I'm going to do a second set that is like Luke and some other people that have done some pieces. And I think what I'm going to do with those, I'm going to put their art on the front and have a little bio about them on the back. I think is my plan with that. So it won't be just a card set. It'll also be a promotional thing for my friends and people that have
that's cool. It's a good idea.
Freaking supported me with the art. So.
That's nice. Yeah. Promoting people on Prod is always good. Not enough people do that.
And the person at the top of this page is really good with that. really good. You.
Who? Oh, what? Me? Oh,
yeah, live 2432322425. That's the person.
Oh, yes. Hi. Hello. Well, I tried, but I think everyone who contributes should get credit. You know.
Yeah.
It's I've seen too much of teams and the publishers. Will not name names, but it's like there was this big debate about whether color should even get cover credit a few years ago, and people still debate that. It's like, of course they should fucking get cover credit. What the fuck are you even talking about?
They're a major
everybody
they help you tell the story.
Yeah. I'm thinking about putting names on my cover now because I've got 2 compatriots that are helping me put this together now, like doing all the work on it. One of them, which I don't think everybody knows about this yet, but I'm just going to say it here. because I've said it a few times, but it needs to be definitely said more as we get closer. But you were talking about lettering and the importance of like word bubbles, like putting them in before, like whatever. I have a master illustrator who also is an unbelievable like graphic design like typeset person. Like I've seen his promotional things, which is Matt Barr of Rock and Roll Ninja, the artist.
Oh,
He's doing all my lettering.
cool.
That's awesome. Man.
It's like,
Great.
and I've already seen some samples of some stuff that he wants to do, and I'm like, oh, this is intimidating. It looks so good. And so I got to send him off some stuff because he's going to start on. He's actually going as far as to doing some graphical things for my my actual campaign page as well. So we're working on that.
Cool.
He's taking another run at my logo that I designed. He says he's not changing it too much. He's just crisping it up and making it a little more iconic somehow. So
That's nice.
I can't wait to see that because that's going to go on a lot of stuff. But yeah, Matt has been a huge supporter. Like I said,
Matt's
card
great.
sets, he's doing lettering. So I'm thinking about doing the name thing on the book. It's just
I would
the clean cover thing with just the graphic and then the logo. But
no, you got some big hitters, especially on it.
Yeah,
and giving them credit. Like, yeah, dude, this is just me, so obviously I don't need to put my name on the cover. It's going to go on the inside. I mean, with Shay edits, but so like Frog G, the book for Frog G, obviously Ink's going to have cover credit. We're going to both have cover credit because major part of it. So yeah, it's smart to do. Yeah,
I like how this is like bringing people together. Like this is lovely. It's
what it should be.
Yeah. Well.
It's a comic
It's sort of like I've said this so many times, but every time I see it happening, it's very heartening. It's like you used to have to go through a company to find a team, but you don't need to do that. We're here. This is awesome. Some good people.
Some people you just mesh with, and they just happen to do the thing you need them to do. Like Ink and I have a very similar sadistic sense of humor. Billy and Dan are very goofy, and they're always wanting to have a good time.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it just everything just seemed to coalesce into one. It was great.
Billy, we miss you. I still have to get him on to talk about. I wanted to get him on to talk about coloring as well. But by the way, last week we did an episode talking about coloring with Nick. And I got to get Billy to come on and do the same thing. Yeah, if you want to see a deep dive into how the process works, and we get really technical, but if you want to be colorist, you have to be technical. Check out last week's episode. It was really cool.
Frag is kind of stealing everyone's thunder, so
kind of, yeah. But it's cool.
To have an episode just dedicated to lettering and stuff. I don't know how much
lettering. I would love to hear about lettering.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'm gonna try to.
It is my least favorite thing to do.
I really like lettering.
Oh, I despise it so much.
I want to like it. I think it's I when I see it on books, I was like, oh man, we stop and sometimes it's just looking like this is really good. I have no idea. I have no sensibilities to actually do it myself. I am terrible every time I try and do lettering.
I'll help.
But it makes the books look so much better when you see a good letterer.
Right.
But once again, it's not just filling in the coloring in the lines, actually adds to more personality.
It does.
That's always so cool.
You're leading the eye. You have to figure out how the letters fit and the shape of the bubbles as well. And it's very nuanced.
Right.
If it's good lettering, you don't notice it. So it's just it's one of those things. If it's done well, you don't notice it. It just meshes with the story and it enhances it. If you notice the lettering, that means it's probably a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's like Bill Plagle said that Barr's lettering, and he's a graphic designer by trade. So, it's a graphic. It really is a graphic design thing. At least it's showing everyone up.
It is.
I lettered
every time. I was like, oh, here we go. Hands on. There we go.
Yeah.
I lettered this version of Goblin Girl, which will be on the campaign, and I will say it's definitely an art that I still kind of suck at. I don't know if you can see this top word bubble.
We can definitely see that.
And you know what's hilarious? I didn't notice that I did this until just now.
You need more space around your text.
Yeah,
you gotta leave an O, like a capital O, right?
This is my lettering. It's really bad. Everyone will get to see it because I'm doing a facsimile that's this book exactly as is, warts and all, spelling errors, typeset going out of the boxes and bubbles.
Yeah, I want that one.
The edging on the bubbles.
I want that one.
Gosh, Ryan,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
it's
make it
crazy.
happen. I'm gonna have an episode talking about colors.
That'd be great. Like,
And letters.
look at-
Yeah.
I would have to come here with a notepad because I also need a lot of help.
I really like lettering, but I didn't really have any like training beyond from like a class with Nolan. I just kind of like, I see what people do, but I want to
Right.
hear like a
You get a
perfection.
class.
Like, I got a class and I'm still terrible.
I wanted a class.
I had. Well, you didn't finish school. We had a class
Oh.
where
I
not a
finished
whole,
it.
not a whole class, like a whole semester, but we had some classes on lettering.
I watched
This
a couple
one was
YouTube
intentional,
videos.
but I thought I was being edgy. So
Oh no! Oh no!
yeah,
I've
yeah.
broken the bubble, but
It's
a
ugly.
little more classy way, I think. But
Yeah, there you go.
no, I watched a few YouTube videos. I did look up some lettering websites and like how to go about things, and I got an okay grasp. But my third swipe through it, I kind of got it down a little bit.
Some of these have gotten better though. Like,
I'm no
this
Eric
last
Weathers.
page. Here's the new version. Here's the old
Yeah.
version.
Oh yeah, big change. Yeah.
Ooh.
So this one I did all by hand. So that, I mean, that's the difference, really.
Yeah.
I like copied the font, the computer font.
That
by
is
hand
so
and-
much improvement, man. That's so
yeah,
great. To
but I
see.
wasn't gonna do this to the whole book because I'm not that crazy.
You're not psychotic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not really? Are you sure?
Evidently, Matt is because he was willing to do it. I don't know how he's crafting it with like a font in the machine or what he's doing, but I thank him for handling that for me because it's just like this is not good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I did custom. I didn't make the entire font from scratch for Fiendish, but it is a custom font. I do want people to know. So I did also learn how to do that. So and that was a lot of fun.
Which font are you talking about specifically?
The normal speech bubble font.
Specific.
Yeah, well, the logo is also custom. I took like an open source font, but then I modified it some more, and then
Right, I
that's
was
the
gonna say,
same
you didn't
thing.
make an
for-
actual font out of what you did for the logo, did you? 'Cause you don't
No,
need
I
to-
didn't. But I did make a font out of the comic text, and it's some slight modifications. Like some things were sticking out more than they needed to, and also the I wasn't. For comics, the capital I has to be different than lowercase I. Everything is capitalized except the I has to be different. So they didn't have that, and I changed that. So I want to talk about lettering now. We're gonna make it happen. That'll be
Yeah.
great.
I probably will not be
Bring that
on that
to-
episode,
That's it.
but I'll watch it.
What
Cool. We'll be
No, I'm sorry. I said I probably won't be on that episode, but I'll watch it.
cool. That's all we need. You're welcome to come on chat as well. But yeah, fascinating.
Yeah, this is better. Show this.
Oh my god.
Boobs!
Sorry. Show that.
Boobs!
I know superior when I see one.
No, don't say that. Oh my gosh.
Totally different styles. Plague one knows I'm messing with them.
Yeah.
I started working on something else like a week ago that
Jeez,
I'm
dude.
probably gonna.
There we
I'm
go.
not gonna talk about it right now, but I think
That's like your fourth book. Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, every time Dan comes on, he's like, "So I just finished this other thing, and I'm starting this other thing," and I'm just like,
yeah.
Before you go on to this, how did you have fun on Hockey's channel?
Yeah. I mean, I always have fun hanging out with Hockey Talking. So
Well, I meant
mean,
the drawing part.
it was more of that. Like it was like hanging out with Hockey, playing a board game, more or less drawing.
Yeah,
If that makes
it's kind of what
sense.
it's like. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. I had a good time. I thought it was fun.
I was
that's
not
fun.
miserable. I felt
yeah.
my drawing was much better than the one that I did on your show.
Well,
I was like, oh.
I thought the one you did on mine was really good, man. So
Oh, I forgot to show this off. I did this the other day, like after we did the
what masterpiece?
the
did
Battle
you do?
Angel thing. I wasn't very happy with it, so I redrew mine in pencil.
"Oh, that's
dude.
cute. I like that.
Why aren't
Those
her tits
swords.
Wait,
Those
her tits
swords
aren't-
are nice
her-
because
tits
her
aren't-
boobs are never that big.
No, just make
Yeah.
them like G cups.
I mean, this is big for her.
Yeah,
which
these are
is-
pretty big, but I was going off the movie version.
No, but
No.
even in the comic boobs, she's like a young teenager.
I hated
You
mine.
guys.
I hated the
I mean,
one that
this
I
is all-
did so much.
I feel like you have to kind of do that. What do you call it? Like grading on a scale. with movements like, oh, okay, well that's like
There's your scale.
that's probably like really small in boot dance.
Yeah, like a normal drawing normal real, average real woman size boob is really small for me. So this is small. So yeah,
Slight,
that
I
looks
can
really
do it
good.
if necessary.
slight difference. Here.
We have bidding
Oh,
in the
I don't
chat.
doubt you.
We have
I
what?
don't doubt you.
We have bidding in the chat.
Oh, this is not an auction channel.
Yeah.
Go check out the next Red Valkyrie. Oh, hey, I have my Alita.
Oh gosh,
My Elite is terrible. I think I ripped it up.
Oh gosh, Ivan was when Ivan says like lovely Aelita, I was like, why is Ivan talking about abuelitas?
Abuelitas. That
Oh my
Abuelita's so hot.
gosh.
She makes the
where
best
the fuck is my Alita?
Like what a Colombian, just like bringing abuelitas in the middle of nowhere.
Just suddenly, like, yeah, well, like grandmas. Okay, Yvonne, that's a little weird, but we embrace you.
Guys, a question.
Speaking of grandmas.
Speaking of grandmas.
I mean, I know I am old. It was my birthday.
You won that though, Irene.
What?
I wanted to
You won
ask,
that challenge. Go ahead. Sorry.
guys.
That's really
During the
Ooh, look at that.
last,
Those
the
wings.
last presidential
Amazing.
North American presidential elections, did any of you guys ever actually get the ad for Hillary Clinton trying to be sold to you as a good abuelita?
You mean in 2016?
No.
Yeah. Did anybody get that ad?
No.
No. Oh god! Like,
No, I
so
didn't.
that means we actually were targeted because
Look
like
at
they
that.
actually saw that. They
That
were,
is kind of
Irene.
cringe.
Irene,
Kind of. I don't know.
It
Those
was
wings.
so
I was looking at those
funny.
going, okay.
Oh,
How
I'm
did
not
she
talking
do the
about
wings
you.
in
I'm
that
talking about what
time
Nick
period?
is saying.
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's I don't even kind of know what he's talking about because
Well,
I've
I
never
did-
seen it.
He's
but
talking about they did targeted marketing campaigns when she was campaigning, and I think they did one towards like the Spanish market of painting her as like a
good grandma.
good mother and grandma or whatever to her
Yeah,
To
yeah.
her
children or
Latino,
whatever.
I will hold back
Oh.
I will restrain my thoughts on this right now.
Well, I want to say something, Irene. I didn't get to see this crisp and clear on Frega's channel.
Yeah,
This is
I saw it afterwards,
beautiful.
and I
This
was
is a
like, what
lot
the
better
fuck?
than what. Yeah, this is a lot
Yeah.
better than what I saw on Frega's stream.
Oh, thank you. I did
This is
add the
gorgeous.
white streaks. I did.
All right,
add,
it sucks now. Never mind.
Aw,
So disappointed.
I know. I'm such a liar.
looking at
I
the
added the
showed it.
I added the white out. Yeah, after the
Yeah.
No,
stream.
and that's fine, but
I mean,
like
you
there's
can see what I did on the stream.
right, but there's still
this is
detail
I
that I
did another
didn't see.
30 minutes on this. So,
But there's still
yeah.
details that I didn't see before because it's just it's
Yeah.
more crisp. It's
Look at
bigger
that.
and more clear. It's beautiful.
We won't focus, but
This is gonna sell big on the auction if you put it up.
Oh yeah, it'll be up. So the next Red Valkyrie auction, I do believe it's in December.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna
December.
have this. And by the way, I'm gonna be back on Fractober.
Irene, did you get a bunch of new followers from the Alita community? Because I did after we did that stream.
No.
Yeah, it was
but
crazy.
I
A bunch of-
did one Alita fan art before that got really big. The Alita movie retweeted that piece,
Oh,
and
that's
so
awesome.
I already have
That's
a lot
cool.
of Alita followers.
Yeah, I didn't have any, and
Apparently,
then all of a sudden,
I
like
did good right there.
we did that piece, and all of a sudden, like there was all these new followers that were following that were
That's-
Alita fan base people. I was like, whoa,
Dedicated fans, man.
yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
oh crap.
Yeah, it's pretty. There are like accounts that are just still like make Alita sequel. I'm like, cool.
Yes.
All right, all
Yeah.
right.
No, it hasn't come out yet, has it? What's the deal with that?
I don't know, probably COVID.
I don't know. They're
I don't know.
Or I mean, as long as they make it good, I don't super mind. As long as
Yep.
it's getting made, right? Because I knew the whole like Alita, the whole franchise was like the Hollywood bigwigs were like iffy on it. They're like, oh, you have to make it PG and you change it, and like they had to make some compromises.
Yes.
But as long as they're getting it made and it's good, I'm cool. Because
I guess like all
it
the
was
actors are
not
going to
bad.
be looking like a decade older.
I mean, it's all like freaking CG. So
Oh, they can make him
We're
a
going to
decade
have to
younger.
Yeah.
see her
Like,
dad when he
the-
dies of old age.
the dad was already like pretty old, so like slightly deeper wrinkles isn't a problem. The boyfriend, who was a terrible actor, died, so I'm happy.
Oh, jeez.
Not the actor. I would not talk.
That's
like
fine.
that.
No, it's the actor apparently that you're happy is just 6 feet under. That's good, I guess.
It's not the actor. The
They
actor's
deserve
alive.
it. Just like them
But
dolphins,
he
the
did
actor,
a
let's kill
terrible
everything.
job. He did a terrible job, and like the Hugo's lacking in so much charm. So, anyhow, I want to see
my Alita drawing. I posted it in just the pink bunny thing, and I called it my Alita Crappy Dangle because it sucked, and I ripped it up after that.
I am nervous, Narticon, but I'm gonna be back on. We're rematching with everybody.
You got Aaron Lepresti.
Yeah, everybody who won the rematch.
Ink Spots won, so
Ink Spots won by like 1%.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
it's gonna be nuts.
50-49. So I don't know how that. Nobody knows how that happened, but he still won by 1%. So
that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Tune in, everybody.
I know Bar's gonna be on the one before it to see if he wins and goes back to the big event with you guys. Cool. So yeah, you're gonna have to go against Matt Barr probably. I didn't want to redo it because I'm not challenging Frega. It's fine. So.
I don't know. Like I didn't think I was gonna win. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna win the second round. But
that's just the confidence we all love.
But it's true. Like Frega's really good, and now I've got Aaron Presti as well. I'm just like, what the fuck ever. But like, I think working under pressure pushes you. Like you discover new things when you work under pressure. So I wanted that pressure, and I like that.
You should go and test your might.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Like so we do our best to work under pressure. You got to when you have an opportunity to work under pressure, you should take it. So anyhow, I'm gonna be back on for October, so that's gonna be fun.
That's good. Yep.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun to be on there. I've been on 3 times by accident, so yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
By accident.
Yeah, because I was on initially for like being on, talking about Absolute and stuff like that, and then Topicless was on from Tuesday, and Luke and I went on because we just melded Fragtober with Topicless one night, and then somebody had to bail out. I think it was Dean and Odin couldn't be on. So I jumped in place also on that one because Will just hit me up. He's like, dude, crunch time. Can you jump in? I'm like, yeah, sure. Because I never have a life. So I was like, yeah, I'll be on.
Well, yeah, same here. Well, actually, I have like a lot of streams at the end of the month. I'm going to be, we're doing a Halloween day. We're going to be doing a Pathfinder stream. And then I'm closing out the Cryptindals with Studio 656 Comics.
They're on Fragtober right now.
Oh, are they? Oh shit! That's why all my viewers are gone. Well, that's cool. But
we're here.
They're good people. Yeah, we are.
You know why? Because 656 can suck it.
The chat is no. I was like, I don't see all of you in the chat. No, I know what. No, it's cool. I freaking love those guys. Yeah, they're great.
It's kayfabe. We love each other. It's good fun. Yeah. Sometimes a little too much.
Malin hasn't competed, has he? A little
Not
suspicious.
Yet. He's been on, but he hasn't competed. So yeah.
Interesting.
I think this the 31st is when he does his.
Yeah, they're saving that up for the title match.
Yeah, I won't back down from a drawing challenge ever, but I wouldn't want to do that match. But I won't back down.
You could beat Malin.
I think
he's really good.
He is really good, but you could beat Malin.
I think he's Sean Gordon Murphy level, but. Again, I don't back down, man.
You could beat
Spirit. Nah.
It's all right. You can do it. It's fine.
I don't know these guys really.
That's because she can beat him, so it doesn't matter.
No, I'll send you I'll send you Frega's channel. It's really awesome. Every day of October, they're doing like drawing challenges.
Yeah. Oh, every day! Oh my god!
Yes, every day. I don't know how he does it, man. Like I would go crazy having to stream every day and do a drawing challenge every day. Woo!
Yeah, Dan's great. And it's a cool show.
Yeah.
I like drawing streams.
Like what he's doing also beyond from like he's just a really chill person and he gives, he does all these streams like promoting people, but he that's not what he's doing. He's effectively giving a spotlight on tons of people. Like just come on and draw and show people your art. So he's doing a great thing. He's a really good guy.
Yeah. You don't have to be a huge pro to go on. You could just be like a nobody like me. I'm not saying I'm a nobody.
You're not a nobody.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I'm not an industry pro. So like
what's an industry pro?
People who used to work for the big industry. I don't understand.
There's so few people who did that though. Anyways,
anyways, but you could be like you could have a $2,000 campaign and be on there, like
That's
and
true.
he will promote you, he will help you, he's all about creativity and helping out, and it's great. That's why I love Fred.
Hey, I have a
Yeah.
question about chapter 2.
What?
Are you gonna do the pyromancy tiers?
Pyrography.
Right.
That too.
I will do a limited pyrography tier.
Can
I will
you,
do like 10
can you
of
do
them.
Squirrel? Can you do Squirrel Girl?
What about Squirrel Girl? Is that what you want, Chimera?
He's
What are you
he's
showing,
no
Cody?
longer here. Anyways,
Oh, yeah, what were we talking about?
That was the only funny thing about it. It's being his exit line.
He had to go out on a high note, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, he's in the back room trying to like make kind gestures. And
His fault. His fault, Irene.
you get what you asked for. So, what did you think was gonna happen?
What did you think I was gonna do?
Anyhow,
Fiendish back at today.
Fiendish, yes, back at
twice.
today.
Fiendish delivers, my friend. Look, that is right. Fiendish
Man, I'm
delivers.
jealous. I don't got mine
Yeah,
yet.
got the trading cards down here. They're gorgeous. They're individually wrapped because she's a psycho and does it for every single book. That's right.
hand-packed all of these.
Hand-packed. That's right.
Yes. Yes. So the smoke tier is going out to all backers right now. So, but it's if you back just the smoke tier, which is a grayscale book, or the art book, and because the color book is not done, so if you back the color book, I'm gonna have to ship your stuff later. But the posters just came in as well. By the way, we should close out soon because we just hit 3 hours. But we.
It's like 20 minutes. That's like 20 minutes for Play Goal. Keep going. At least 5 more hours. Come on.
Well, I have to get back to work, and I also
You can work while you're on stream.
I have to send Steve my pages for Rocket, or he's gonna.
You can do all this on a stream. There's no problems here.
No, I have to concentrate. Really, I mean, you guys can talk, but I just like no. It's
You don't-
distracting.
That's fine. You
No,
just-
stop tempting me! I need to get this lettering done. So
Yeah.
anyhow,
Yeah,
I
get your
wanted-
files in, chick. Come on.
yes, they're gonna be in. Yes, editor son.
Yeah.
I have so much lettering. I have to letter those pages for chapter 2, send to Steve, and I have to do the Japanese edition lettering. So if you guys want to see that happen, you gotta let me do the work. So
on stream.
it's gonna happen. It's gonna be like but it's like Japanese. Anyhow, I wanted to shout out Arrogant Apparition, who did a hilarious review for Fiendish. And if you guys want to see, first of all, proof that the books are getting out, but it's like mildly spoilery, but he doesn't spoil the big plot point. So he flipped through his copy of chapter 1 of Fiendish, and I'm going to post a link right in the chat. Give him a watch and follow, because I really appreciate. I mean, I love seeing like reviews. I want people to be honest as well. Like, tell me what you think. You know, anything that I need to improve on, I want to hear it. But just I appreciate anybody, when they get the book, putting it out there. And if you get the book, send me the picture. I'll showcase it. So here you go. Apparition.
Here, hold on. I'm going to show the last page.
You. The last page. Oh, the text page. Yeah.
Spoilers.
No, the last page of the story. Hold on.
Spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to show
But
the spoiler.
that's spoilery.
Yeah,
No,
that's
don't
spoiler.
show
No,
it.
it's fine. Don't worry about it.
The
Nobody's
last-
watching anyway.
people today. No, we have a few people. We have like 12 people watching.
I would never do that.
Not everybody's still watching Free Go, but so there you go. There's the Free Go review. Yeah,
No,
those
it's
the last four
beautiful.
pages are
No, it's a beautiful book. It really is.
Thank you. And the color edition is, we got 10 pages left, so I'm hoping for November, unless like something just like blows up my computer. There is no more excuses. November release for the color edition. So yeah, you guys can all look forward to that.
Awesome.
Whew, I think we should wrap things up. This has been 3 hours.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Files done. Yeah.
I will allow
Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate
to close out.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me crash. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. More than happy to have all of you
Good
on.
to meet you.
If I'll mention a squirrel, well, now you know what will happen if you mention squirrel.
Oh God, he's back. Yeah, it's
I don't
definitely
even mind
coming.
like I enjoy working on Silk and Gwenpool, but anyways, I'm not going to get into that right now. So anyhow, let's tell everybody where to find all of you. Start with AC, and Nick disappeared, but
he's currently
There
working.
you
oh, he's
there he
here.
is.
You were hiding him.
Very secret project right now.
I mean, I don't think that's that secret.
It's not.
Okay.
You can find me. You can search for me as AC Zamudio on Instagram and Twitter.
And so you can find me as Ink Imp or Ink Imp Nick on Instagram, Blogger, and you can reach me at inkimpcontact@gmail.com.
Sweet. Steve.
Oh shit. Yeah. Rocket, the Confiscate magazine, showcasing the best, the brightest, and the broadest selection of talent in comics. Hopefully an ongoing fixture in Comicscape moving forward. But I need to sell that first one, so if you haven't bought one, please do. The Real Steve Dye on Twitter. Occasionally, I entertain working with people to help them make their books better. So let me know what you got going on. Maybe we can do something.
Hell yeah. Hire Steve. He will edit your books and make them better.
Yes.
Yes. Jason.
You can find me here on the Twitters and Unhinged Entertainment or Unhinged on YouTube. You just look for my logo and you'll see my ugly mug in wine format. Here we go, right here. Yay! If you look for that. Yeah, and then Back Absolute Book 2. And also, sign up for Goblin Girl. I have work in there.
Really?
Hell yeah. Oh, and that segue. Damn.
You can follow me at this right here, the Boob Dan Art on YouTube. Please sign up there. Need signups. I'm also on Instagram, and on Twitter is probably the best way if you want to communicate because I'm on there most of the time. And yeah, we're launching next Tuesday, and so it should be crazy.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's gonna be all day event too.
Yeah, it's down to the wire right now. We're trying to get everything ready to go.
You got this, dude. You've been promoting this so damn long.
You're gonna do very well, my friend.
It's nerve wracking.
Yeah, it is.
You got this, and we're here for you.
Yeah, and be sure to sign up for Rock and Roll Ninja. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be fulfilling probably in December or something like that, or something. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. I just know that like the whole thing's supposedly done in December for sure. Yeah. And then follow Billy and Matt Barr. They're going to be working on my book, and they've got lots of other stuff they're working on as well. Billy, I think, is Ghost Monster, and Matt Barr is Matt 6 Bar, I believe.
Matt Barr 6.
And then
Matt Barr
6. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then these guys here follow these guys too, and then the people's up here follow everybody on this chat. Look at all the different names and follow them because they're all creating stuff.
There, yes, handles and names. Cool. And a Chimera is super mature. Wow. Yes.
Where can you find the Chimera is super mature?
Okay.
Apparently, this is a comedy show, guys.
Yes. Chimera that on Twitter, and I like the Etsy store. I have leftover Testament books and ash cans.
There you go.
Yep.
Cool.
Such enthusiasm. Testament's a really good book. Everybody should check it out. He's
right.
Working on number 2.
It's all right.
He's all right.
I did get it. It is good. Yeah. I'll trash on him, but I won't trash on his book. His book is good.
I also I want to take a second to shill for our friend who is represented in Kids and Monsters. Our friend, we know him as Alejo, but his handle is Magnozz.
Yes.
MAGNOZZ, and you can find him on Instagram, Twitter, ArtStation. He's got his own website. He's got everything.
There you go.
What about Nick's book? Is that still available?
It is, isn't it?
No, I mean it's in the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is closed.
Detonator. Yeah, Detonator. Kickstarter doesn't have in demand. Yeah. So yeah. But the other book he's on, Fiendish, is still available.
Well, I backed it. I backed both of those books.
Hell
I didn't get my book like this guy. This guy got his book.
That's because I'm handsome.
Damn.
Well, I'm shipping out the grayscale.
I'm sorry, man.
I
can't help the Kavorka. I can't help.
Also,
it's all right. It's all right.
Everyone, Bad Kids and Monsters, which is our guest earlier today, and it's a very cool looking book. I'm super excited. I'm looking forward to it. So
That
this
was
book.
a bit of a roller coaster of self-esteem going in there. Starting out with like, you can find me at my ugly mug here, and then like, oh, I'm handsome.
Well, you know what they say about artists? The mood swings are no joke. No joke.
And the flakes.
Mm-hmm.
Swing it low.
Yep. And I want to say thank you to the mods. Blingo's Angel Ghost, you've been so good. You've been posting all the links. So thank you, everyone. And this person, despite the annoyance, thank you for modding. You guys are all awesome. You can find me at Rini Draws, as usual. And you can find me YouTube. Obviously, you're watching this on my channel. My Twitter is also Rini Draws. Instagram, I have a Patreon. Also, you can find me under Rini Draws. I post behind the scenes stuff for Fiendish, and I do monthly fan art, which I will be working on later this week. And so if you want to see all the other extra stuff, you can watch me on Patreon. And back my book, Fiendish, on Indiegogo. And subscribe, like this channel if you haven't yet. I keep on mentioning I'm still trying to get the hours to be monetized. So if you want some extra comic talk, if you want to see some old drawing videos, go to my channel. I have a ton of older videos doing like just drawing and chatting and streams talking about other people's comics and some tutorials as well. So
and eating dolphins.
Eating dolphins, yes, totally. What? Anyhow, yeah, check out my older videos and do a homegirl a favor and see if you can help me get the watch times that I need. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I will see you all next week. Cheers! I wish I had my booze out, you guys. And now I have my coffee. There you go. Cheers.
So.
Goodbye. See you next week with Brian Prisco will be on. So same time. Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern time on same time next Wednesday. So come join us. All right. Thank you. Bye everyone.
Everybody.
Bye bye.